Let me just make sure everything's right. I should really commission my own song for this, like, just to play in the back. Alright, I think it's all good.
It's like you cool, like you got your own theme song cool.
As in, like, just a stream song sort of thing in the background. I've been playing the Bilgewater song from LoL at the moment.
Fair dude, that is.
It's catchy though, so. Alright, hi guys. I've already had Squid, who will be known as, was it Farandel? Yeah?
Thalandros.
I can't even pronounce this name.
Thalandros.
There we go. And Vorathel.
Exactly. Hey-o.
Hey yo. Alright, welcome to the podcast. We're talking Blood Elves today, and everyone knows that I'm a big time Blood Elf role player. Not really.
Yeah.
Let's start with your experiences. Of course, Thalandros has already given us theirs, but they can say it again if they want. Maybe with Blood Elf roleplay. When did you start like roleplay, and how have you like grown and experienced, you know, from then on? Yeah.
Like, as I said before, like with the Night Elf one, when I first came back to World of Warcraft, like right in about, I don't know, say mid Burning Crusade.
Yeah.
Came back, Scarshield Legion, tiny little server, like absolutely minuscule. And like I just run into this other dude, just like to about what, level 8 or so? Bear in mind, I've not really tried RP more beyond since like some really, really basic crap that used to go on outside, ironically enough, in Goldshire on Dark Moon Fair back in Vanilla, before people really knew what ERP and the wall people were.
Gotcha.
So, you know, we're just running around all day, just being idiots, just RPing our way through the questing. And I was like, you know what? That isn't so bad. I ended up finding myself in Blood Elf Guild about a week later, and I just haven't really stopped from there.
Fair dues. What was the guild you're in?
It was not Sangreal, I think was name. Way
Sangria?
back in the day. Yeah, people keep calling it Sangria, so let's go with Sangria.
No, do you mean Sanguinai? Is that the Warlock guild with...
Oh no, this is back in Scarshield.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I've only ever
Yeah, they like
roleplayed
the
on
edgy Latin names there, you see.
Don't worry, I had that as well when I was when I was actually PvPing with the whole was it Vene Vinci or something like that? I don't know. I came, I saw, I conquered. I was a big time PvPer. What about you, Vorathel?
Yeah, actually I was also PvP all day, all night type of guy back in the day. Like my first roleplay experience actually started from me being on a PvP server. Like it was in TBC or something, and I don't know, man. I played a Blood Elf female called Elfinia, really creative name.
I remember it's for my Goblina now.
Man, it was such a mess, man. I was for some reason in Silvermoon.
Yeah.
I don't even know why, but like I just walked down the street basically towards the Shepherd's Gate, basically the entrance to Silvermoon.
Yeah.
And by walking past the inn, I saw in my chatbox suddenly popped up like people talking, you know. But they didn't talk like normal people to me, you know, like they didn't say like, hey man, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? Let's do some battleground or whatever. But they were talking about actual in-game stuff, like, I don't know, man, about the Sun Fury and Outland and everything. And then I just went into the inn, and I was literally the type of guy you don't want to see in roleplay today, you know, like jumping around, jumping inside the inn and like, hey man, what's up? Why are you talking so funny? What's going on?
I think we've all been there though. So.
Exactly. I mean, I was like 12 years old or something.
Yeah.
Like that. You know, I had no clue, man. And then someone just whispered me, talked to me, and told me that they are role playing basically. And I was like, okay, I was intrigued basically. had to go then, informed myself later on in the internet what roleplay actually means, what it is, what they are doing, and yeah, found it interesting and got hooked up ever since. And yeah, 11 years later, I'm still here.
That's fair.
It's quite cool.
Man, that statement makes us both sound so old. The both started Burning Crusade.
You won't sound old until you say you've done like text-based roleplay before WoW was even a thing.
I mean, I already feel old when I say that I roleplay for 11 years, and I don't want to imagine how you guys feel, man.
Oh god, yeah, I've been in classic now for a year and a half.
I only started role-playing in WoW in Cataclysm actually, so
Oh, all right.
yeah, I was like I said, I even only came to Argent Dawn in Cataclysm as well. I was big-time PvPer. Not so much
He was
now,
unloaded.
although I do want to
Man.
get back into PvP. I was kind of annoying, admittedly, when I came on the realm as well, but it was
I mean,
because I wasn't really fully aware of the whole RP stuff to begin with. Anyway, I think I've already told the story of when I hijacked a Worgen randomly.
Dude, my story, like my first big roleplay story, is just a mess, and it's so insane. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it was on the same character. It was still on Alphenia, and the roleplay hub back then was in Hillspread Foothills.
Yeah,
Like everything was there, like Alliance and Horde and everything. And I actually joined. I don't know how the guild was called, but it was a Blood Elf only guild, like full random. Like I don't know. I don't even think it was a roleplay server. It was just people on a PvP realm, role playing occasionally. And I don't know. I joined
Ironically.
I joined the roleplay, and 2 or 3 days later, I became the Dark Phoenix Queen of Hillspread. Okay, that was the type of roleplay.
so fucking edgy.
It was super fucking edgy, man. Only later I would figure out that okay, this is kind of loadsy, you know, like, and then I stick to the lore and learned it more and stuff. But my first year of roleplay was just for fun, you know. It was still cool and an awesome experience. But looking back at it, fuck, man, I don't. I'm a bit ashamed, but well,
I'm
You
pretty
guys do,
open
you still
about.
keep the cards and keep yourself grounded.
yeah. Oh my God.
I'm pretty open about my shitty roleplay. I think.
I mean, I think everyone had shitty roleplay in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's just how it starts, man.
Like I said before, I was that edgy assassin in the dark, shady corner, holding a
Oh.
dagger.
So come at me, stab.
Come at me. Alright.
Yeah, man.
Alright, what got you into Blood Elf roleplay then? Both of you.
Alright, I will just start, man.
Okay.
Like, Blood of Roleplay, it was kind of connected to the situation I just described, but
Yeah.
overall, the interest in Blood Elves overall, the reason why I rolled the Blood Elf in the first place was basically Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
Of course, you didn't see that many Blood Elves there, just not primarily at least. But they reminded me of Lord of the Rings, you know. So and then when World of Warcraft came around and I played in TBC, I'm a TBC baby basically. I was like, I wanted to join the Horde anyway because I was an Orc fanboy and Thrall and everything back when he was good. But I didn't want to play an Orc, so I went for Blood Elf and it was just amazing. The lore and everything. Prince Kel'Thas, Sunstrider, and the whole downfall of Kel'Thalas and the Scourge and everything. Just amazing, man. Back then, the lore was so awesome, man. And I just wanted to be part of it, basically.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't know what roleplay is, I wanted to just present that shit. That's what got me into Blood Elf roleplay in the end, then, I guess.
Alright. What about you, Thalandros? I still want to call you Squid, I don't know why.
Please no. Please.
Alright,
Please
Thalandros.
let the meat die. Yeah, well, okay. Well, back in classic when I was playing on the Night Elf Druid, okay, back on Darkmoon Fair. So I figured, like, I'd been gone from the game for a while, since I took off a few weeks before the Scarab Gates opened. Come back around the same time as World plus Tempest Keeps. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Let's try out the other faction, okay? So I go over, I just start fiddling around, and bear in mind, like, I'm going to admit to a cardinal sin now, right? I had not even heard of Warcraft 2 or 3 or anything like that before that. I was only like, what, 13, 14 or so? I was a small, naive little boy.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm pissing around then with all the character creation, like, oh, okay. Blood Elf. That sounds, you know, reasonably edgy for my emo self at that age. So I start nosing around, having a look at all the things, and I was like, oh, what? Don't have warriors? Oh, that's so gay, man. Kind of attitude about it all. And then I see paladins. And it's just, I don't know what it was. I was like, alright, cool. A class, like, a race rather, that can be a paladin. That doesn't mean being a stumpy little whitehead. Or a human. So I ended up going with the Blood Elf Paladin. And yeah, it just kind of went from there. Like, I didn't know anything about the bloody lore beforehand, so I learned it all as I leveled through the game. I like to admit, like to think I went pretty fast through the whole thing, only having to call him a guild leader 4 times in Ghostlands just to kill anything. And that wasn't even for the abominations either. That was literally just normal quests. I had to call on him to give me a hand. And then screeching my head off when I reached Darkhan, just pleading for help from everyone because this thing was just smacking me in the face every time I tried. But you know, I like the story of the Ghostlands and everything else like that, so I stuck with it.
Man, the Ghostlands were
I
pain.
still have that bloody character now. In fact, I'm logging into him right now.
May as well tell you a bit of my experience with Blood of Roleplay.
Well,
Let's see, I'm trying to think what my first character was. I think it was a it was a Blood Elf Warlock. Again, edgy character probably. I don't think I ever joined a guild on it though. I was just kind of hanging around in Silvermoon all the time, sort of like a city dweller, if you want to call it that. Just having my roleplay there. I think there was multiple times where I tried to kill someone's character, because they kept insulting him or whatever. But you know,
nice.
I also had a female blood elf hunter. I can't remember her name. She was a mercenary. That one went out of Silvermoon.
But I wonder actually why so many people play Blood of Mercenaries, man. I don't know.
Look,
Like, nothing against the concept itself, you know, like, I find it interesting. I get it, but...
let me tell you from my perspective.
I played one myself.
Let me tell you from my perspective. It's kind of boring seeing all these snobby blood elves all the time.
I love that, man. I love playing snobby Blood Elves, actually. That's something what's so funny about them, in my opinion, at least.
Oh,
you can play that stuck up noble character, and if you can pull it off, then I don't know, man. You can do the whole plotting thing and shit, you know.
I'm not that good at being full of myself.
Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it. That's how it goes. You know, I tried being a mercenary myself, and like, part of me, I actually quite like the whole Blood Elf mercenary thing. Because like when you look at like the whole lore of Blood Elves, it's like they're quite pragmatic, I suppose.
Yeah,
I'd say they're quite pragmatic. Like, don't do anything just to try and get themselves a one-up, try and give themselves that last ace in the sleeve, a little bit of edge on someone. And it's like, especially like say what if you got a character that's so cracked from years in the army, but they still want to do something. Like, they're so screwed up, they can't go back in the army, so what do? You go private, you go mercenary, and you work with life like that. And like, I like the tension that comes with it sometimes as well, especially when you get some of the more younger characters, you know, that look on these older mercenary elves, and it's just like, what the hell are you doing? Not even serving your country. And it's like, we tried, they kicked us out.
For me, it's like, I'm kind of still stuck with the whole TBC mentality of Blood Elves, basically. You know, like the Sun Fury and
That's because you're a Blood Knight, dude.
I'm a Blood Knight roleplayer, man.
Shame.
It's just part of me. No shame, man.
Haven't the Blood Knight changed since BC though? Like, they don't steal the light; they've actually learned how to use it.
Yeah, like they used to basically force the light to do their bidding.
Yeah.
And now just
because that's
not necessary. Like they can still access the light without actually believing in it, you know, like
Yeah.
not like the Church of the Light, but through the sun world basically. But most are turning back to the belief pretty much, like Lady Liadrin, for example. She's the prime example, so most people will probably follow her on that.
The matriarch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though many Blood Knight role players don't like her that much anymore because she's so, I don't know, man.
I don't know.
She's too cuddly with humans and stuff, you know, with the silver hand and the
She
whole.
has her redeeming moments, but yeah, she seems to soften up a bit.
At least she's not a windrunner yet. That's good, man.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my God.
I'm gonna say it. You people are gonna get me to say it each time on the stream, aren't you? I hate the windrunners.
Man, me too. I'm totally
man.
in with it. I really.
I do like
despise them.
Lady Liadrin though.
Mm. I used to really like Alaria Windrunner before she came back in Legion, because she's just a badass character, pretty much, from the second war and everything you know about her. But I don't know, man. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Why do they have to make every Windrunner be a human lover? You know, that
Well,
for
except
me personally.
Sylvanas, but she's gone way off the other end.
Yeah, but for me it's kind of contradicting to how the Blood Elves are, you know. Like even back when Kalphas was actually having feelings for Jaina, it was just not in their culture, you know. Like they're elves, man. Elves in any fantasy are about purity, basically. Like pairing up with humans, for example, is like a bit frowned upon, I would say. And suddenly all the Windrunner sisters, like one of the most prideful dynasties basically, are all for, like, I don't know, man, reproducing with humans and stuff. I do not
Dude,
approve.
do you
I
ever
don't
see
realize.
that? Do you ever see the coin that you could fish up for Chaos
Oh
House?
my
About Jaina, it's like, hopefully one day she'll recognize my power.
Oh man, recognize me, senpai, man. That's how he was.
Can I tell you, I don't actually
So
like
cringe.
Kalphas that much.
You don't?
No. I do
How
like
come?
Lorframar though. Lorframar is a cool character. I don't know, Kalphas doesn't really hit it with me.
For me, I can understand it. Like, Kalphas was for me really the top-notch Blood Elf example. You know, like he was just badass, man. He led his people, renamed them to the Blood Elves. Was trying to find like all the values that the Blood Elves had, basically stemmed from him being defiant to their fate, basically, and he gave them hope back and stuff. But then he just became a meme. You know, he just became a meme. They really memeified him. Like up to his first death in Tempest Keep, he was awesome. Like he was really awesome, but they should
I
never have
didn't like
made.
how they dug him out for Magister Ceres.
Yeah.
Don't all
Like,
bosses become a meme eventually?
he was just ridiculous in the Magister's Terrace, man.
Was there any point to that though? Like, was he got beaten already? Was there any point in Magister's Terrace?
Not
I don't know,
really.
it felt like such a cop-out, really. It's
It-
like, you know, he had amazing, like, end raid boss fights, and then he's just,
And then
Five
he
guys
comes
will kill
back
you.
as a weak ass, ridiculous character, looking terrible, and just as a pushover, basically.
Lem-
yeah, he was
I- I-
great
I-
in Tempest Keep.
I think, yeah, in Tempest Keep he was awesome, man. Like it was a fitting end. Like it was sad for me to see him go because he was just that awesome Blood Elf, you know. But it was still a fitting end. I could get behind it. But then they bring him back just to kill him again, basically. I don't understand to this day, to be honest. It made no sense to me.
Yeah, they seem to do that quite a bit with bosses in general.
Yeah. It
But
takes away from the achievement. You kill him, then he comes back, and then you kill him again. Like, it doesn't feel special.
yeah, Lorframar got me to like him really throughout the Mr. Pandaria expansion. Actually, he was really good then, like his character development.
Oh yeah, and he's a really good leader, actually. Like, before that, you were, like, everyone was like, okay, he is that strange ranger guy in Silver Moon. You know, like, no one really knows what he is like. What did he do to deserve the honor to be the region lord and stuff? But in Mist of Pandaria, you really saw that he's actually a capable leader. He actually has character, and he's he's not a pushover, you know. He will stand up to people, as you see in his
yeah.
conversation with
I think my
Sylvanas.
favorite of Lothar actually was in the Landfall campaign.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like, you know, you've got all the stuff there, the purging and Dalaran, and they get back, and the first thing he does is flip a bench into the fountain.
That also became a meme, man. Flipping a bench like Lawfana. But yeah, he's awesome, man. And people respect him. Nowadays, my favorite character is Grand Magister Romarth. However,
I don't see much
Because-
of him at all.
that's yeah, man. Sadly, because he's so badass, man. He's literally he's as if you mix Lofima with Kalfas, you get Romarth basically.
The way I see it is
Right.
Lawframa and friends, pretty much. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean Halderon, the Ranger General, he doesn't do much. He's in the Hunter campaign, I think.
I
Yeah.
don't remember
But-
seeing him.
Yeah, he actually is. Like he gives you a quest or
in the
something.
Hunter
Like
campaign.
he's really not that present. He does a bit of stuff, but he's not that. There's not much presence, but like Romarth is definitely there, man. Like in lore, he's a big deal, man. He leads the Magisters. They are just the strongest faction in Silvermoon still, and he's really important.
Alright.
But yeah, I like him.
What's the community like at the moment for Blood of Roleplay? Well, apart from being probably 80% of the Horde roleplay, what's it like?
Actually, it's great, as far as I know. Like, I remember, I'm not on the server for too long. Like, we came here 1 year and 4 months ago, created the guild and stuff, so we were just dipping into cold water. But it's really good. Like, people have a lot of connections among between guilds and stuff, do stuff together, campaigns and everything. And overall, it's a really friendly basis, I would say, and really open to new things and to do stuff together. There's bad apples, like there are always bad apples everywhere, but yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed, although it's probably because you're the majority of roleplay, let's face it, for the Horde. The Blood Elves are just bigger on numbers. There seems to be some drama there sometimes between guilds and players or whatever, but
I wouldn't say too much though.
I won't
Like,
won't dwell into that much, but it is good to also see that you've got this whole conclave, is it, with all the guilds coming together
yeah.
and meeting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's actually fundamental for Blood Elf roleplay to have these things that bring people together, you know, because one of the issues with Blood Elf roleplay, or maybe roleplay overall, is that people bubble out, you know, like they just stick to their guild and don't want to have any disturbances, which is reasonable, you know, but like sometimes you just have to jump over your shadow, push your pride away and just connect, you know, because we are still a community overall. And if everyone bubbles out, then where's the community, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
At least that's my mindset. And so far, like, for example, with the Sun Reavers, we have a lot to do, and with other guilds too, and there's the Conclave, and there's other stuff going on, and so far in the last year I've been roleplaying in the Blood Elf community. It has been really awesome. There's no shortage of roleplay, and it's cool. I like it a lot.
What about for you, Fal?
I don't know, I find like sometimes in the community itself, it sort of runs like the tides in a way. It's like, if you get what I mean, it kind of like rises and falls.
Yeah.
Like say like, for a certain set of months, it would be crazy active. And then after a while, it almost becomes like a ghost town for a little bit. But you know, that's fine, because half the time, like during those times, it's where someone maybe has like guild campaigns going on, or because exams and work and what have you have kicked in for people. But, I don't know. It's very much the mixed bag in that one, I find sometimes. Because, like, as Vorathel was saying, like, you'll find a lot of cases where, like, things are great. Like, absolutely astounding. You couldn't ask for better. And then there are sometimes points where you might raise an eyebrow.
Yeah. Like, Yeah, it's just like that, just as you explained, man. Sometimes it's really amazing, and sometimes it's just like, where's the blood of roleplay? Like, when I at the end of Warlords of Draenor, for example, if you went to Silvermoon, that was a period where I joined. I was amazed, like I have never seen so many blood of roleplayers in one place. Basically, just you could find random roleplay everywhere.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it was also really like quality role play, I would say. Like, of course, you have places like the bazaar in Silvermoon which is just a taboo zone, basically.
Oh, man, we don't talk about that place, okay?
The
It's pretty
Godshire
much
of
the
the
Moss
Horde.
No,
You
dude, it's
don't
not even
mention-
that. It's the full-on Moss Eisley, okay? It is Moss Eisley.
Can I just say, every time I see the bazaar, I haven't been to Silverman in years though, like 2 years probably. But every time I've been to the bazaar, there's always been at least 2 Taurens there, or probably more. There's always Tauren. I don't know why it's always Tauren.
The thing is, like, it's a pity that it's like that. Like, I wish there would be actual roleplay in the bazaar because it's a cool place.
And there can be.
It would be awesome.
There can be. There has been as well. A Krona market there before, if I remember correctly. She did an excellent job of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
like fair dues to North of Silver as well, because like Wayfarer's Rest has always got a fair bit of stigma. The fair dues to North of Silver, because like they've really tried
They're great role
over the
players.
years to try and they've really tried to sort of bolster things there. I remember they were doing like little village hours in a sense in Wayfarer's Rest, trying to bring other people who say frequent the court and Royal Exchange over to that end. Just kind of chill, try and help bolster things, build it back up again.
That's the thing, like, the thing is the consistency, like, it's always, like, the first step in roleplay is to show initiative.
Yeah.
So you need to have the initiative to actually dare making a change, that's the first thing, which the people do. And then the second thing is to be consistent about it, to actually pull it through, like, for a really long time, because otherwise it will not last, the change will not last. And that's what you see, like. But it's hard to do because even though people have the initiative, that's for sure, and they want to pull it through, there's a lack of interest maybe, or maybe even a lack of numbers, because like, that's the thing, man. The Horde is more about guild roleplay. So, and most guilds, especially Blood Elf guilds, are actually not that much in Silvermoon. Like, most guilds that I see or that I know, bar a few, actually go out regularly to other places, join campaigns, do stuff with other guilds, and go do content in character, And then when they are done, they return to Silvermoon, and then it basically starts from scratch, and yeah.
That's fun,
I don't
really.
know, man. Yeah, it is.
I find the best times as well is like when you get sort of collaborations as well between guilds for these campaigns.
Yeah.
Like a while ago, like the Sunweavers and the Eclipsean Blade actually had a small campaign, and that was hell of a blast.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Like it was an amazing time.
Man, everyone loved it, man. Like, that's the best moments, Like when you, it's already awesome as fun, as fuck. Basically, when you make campaigns for your guild and you have people telling you they have fun and stuff, that's really rewarding. But if you pair up with another guild, or maybe more than one guild even, and do stuff together, and you just see how everyone mingles with each other and just gets along well and just roleplays together, basically what it is about to roleplay. That's amazing, man, and I love that.
Yeah.
I wish there would be more, basically.
I do encourage. I think we already had this sort of conversation actually with the whole "Why is Silvermoon dead?" thread or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Where I expressed that people sometimes, guilds entirely as well, they keep to themselves too much, and then they come forward and complain that there isn't any roleplay outside of their guilds or their friendship group. But the thing with that is
you're not gonna get anywhere.
you and as well as whoever else is on the other side thinking the same thing need to actually come together and do stuff rather than stand on the other side and just poking sticks at each other or something.
Exactly. That's the initiative part, basically. Like, yeah, exactly. Just as you say, man, that nothing comes from it if both people just stand there and do nothing, or if people just stand in Silvermoon, or it's even more present on Alliance, actually, in Stormwind, for example. That's the best example I can give, where people just stand and then approach, like they type in their TRP, approach me, or I'm approachable, you know. But my character,
when approach someone else instead.
like my character doesn't know that in character though.
Yeah.
So
Um,
I mean, it's always good to approach, but especially if you have a reason to approach, then it's really easy. But the problem is to just approach randomly, you know, because if you don't, if I take my character for example, he wouldn't just approach a citizen, you know, or whatever. He wouldn't just approach anyone just like that if there's no reason for it. That would be my problem. I don't really bother because like I get the roleplay that I need my daily doses basically, but overall that's the issue. People have an issue with randomly approaching for small talk or whatever, I think.
Yeah, that's why I think again it's great you have the conclave. I tried to do a similar thing with the Goblin community with Gearworks, but Goblin community is very small, and the reason that went downhill is because there was only 3 guilds: the Wonderspot Carnival, the Gearfist, and at the time the Cutthroat Cartel. And the Gearfist and the Cutthroat didn't really like one another, so
Yeah, I get that.
it went downhill.
That's actually the thing what I really love about the conclave, which just recently there was one actually. There's a stigma on Blood Elf roleplay overall that everyone is like elitist and rival to each other, you know. Like,
Yeah.
As if, for example, my guild is like, man, two Thalandros guild, like, we need to compete with them for whatever reason, man. And I don't know, we need to be better, and they suck and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
That's the stigma there is on Blood Elf roleplay. But the conclave, for example, or overall community events are always, in my mind, they show that that's actually not the case, you know. Like, of course there will be rivalries in character, which is also part of the conclave pretty much, but as long as out of character everyone is just knowing that you can't gain anything, you know. Like, this is not a power play, you know. This is just roleplay. Everyone roleplays in World of Warcraft, and you will never get any authority or power through that.
See, being competitive is fine so long as you can tell the difference between pretend and you know.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of healthy rivalry is lovely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, when you're going out your way to be so malicious, it's just like, no, stop that.
Yeah, as
Stop
soon
it
as
right now, it's a game.
when it turns toxic, then yeah.
It's the same with drama. Drama's fine in roleplay, completely fine. I'm fine with someone trying to, I don't know, punch my character for no reason just because they feel like it. But when they take that sort of drama out of character, that's when it becomes a problem. And I personally don't give a rat's ass about anything, because roleplay is roleplay at the end of the day.
Yep.
So yeah, it is really good that I see the conclave going around, and I think it's been around for how long now? Is it like over 2 months or so now, right?
In a few years now.
Oh,
since
yes.
I first played it.
Years for sure. Like
I've only just seen it recently myself.
Okay, so last Saturday there was the 16th conclave.
Oh,
And
well, congrats.
Yeah, and the first one which I actually attended was the 15th, and that was last year. So
Oh, is it once a year?
I think it's always when there's important stuff going on. Right?
Oh,
Like,
okay, so it's
the
like...
first
Yeah,
one
you
was
get to go
when
down every few months, but it's kind of gotten a bit quiet.
yeah, definitely. Like, now it's just basically when there's major stuff happening. For example, the 15th conclave was shortly after the Legion launched, basically, for obvious reasons. Like, the Legion's coming, people need to communicate about it.
Yeah.
And then the recent one was about the war actually coming to a close, you know, like soon Antaurus is going to be assaulted in character and stuff. I think everyone or most people actually agree that the stuff will be handled when the last Raid Finder thing is opening, the wing. And yeah, people were discussing about stuff, you know.
Because then it's, well, you know, you can see the thing for itself for everyone then when the last wing's out.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the next conclave will probably happen when the next expansion launches, and when the whole stuff from the cinematic is basically it just happened in character, you know. And then there will definitely be a conclave about that. I would be surprised if not, actually.
Everyone's too busy just fighting instead. I'm actually pretty hyped for that, but I think I've already spoken about Battle for Azeroth. Or actually, where do you see your guilds being in, Battle for Azeroth?
Oh man, at the forefront, man. Right in there, bro.
I'm not really sure where the Sunreavers will be. I mean, like, probably like one moment will be in the front lines alongside the Eclipsion.
Yeah,
The
definitely,
next
man.
moment
Definitely,
will
man.
probably be just like, I don't know, say off
Dude.
on Drano or just trying to steal like some like, sun crystals from someone.
Knowing,
And then someone will try to do the whole matrix jump up the gap and they'll just trip and fall at the last second to a bad roll. And just all that kind of thing.
knowing that
but I'd
Teldrassil
like to
burns
go-
first, though, what would your character think then?
Wait, what?
Teldrassil is the first thing to go down, not Undercity. What would your character think of that?
Oof, my character would be kinda apathic to it, basically. He wouldn't feel much about it. Like, he would be like...
Start
oh,
getting out
well,
the tinfoil hats.
The thing is, my character would be knowing that there will be consequences for that.
Yeah.
Which everyone will know that, probably, but he will be like, okay, man, the capital of the Nidos just burned down, and someone needs to be blamed. And if it's the Horde that is going to be blamed, that means Silvermoon is going to be called to arms, basically. So he will probably immediately prepare himself and his unit to stand by to know what's going to happen next. And then, yeah, we will see. Go with the flow, basically.
I think like for us, like initially, I think like for the Sunreavers, a few of us probably have kind of like a little sidelong glance at a few of the characters like Niverin and Kayleen in our ranks, because they love their food making and it doesn't help that Kayleen's a really explosive fire mage. So I can actually imagine her going off like, I need a bigger fire to make my cookies. So she said when he told Dratel to do it, it's like, perfect brioche.
I love the memes that came out of that, though.
But then after it gets so serious, I don't know, I suspect Gen, just because he kind of seems petty enough to do that sort of thing.
Apparently, well, we'll go sidetrack a bit, so whatever, but apparently it's, was it Sylvanas' War Council or something like that starts it, and it's not her.
The desolate host, yeah.
The thing is, it's not even her council. It's basically
Nathanos, isn't it?
not even his. Like, Nathanos is reporting to her, from what we know so far, that there's a desolate council.
Yeah.
That's what they call it. And they are basically from the Forsaken in the absence of Sylvanas to rule the city, you know, like to do the organization and stuff of everything. So everything goes their way, basically. Basically a replacement government in her absence, pretty much.
Yeah.
Make her into a republic.
Exactly. The assumption is basically that they have some plots going on to overthrow her. But that's just speculation, pretty much, right now.
Yeah, I can
That'd
really
be
imagine
interesting, though.
Sylvanas just turning around now. I just
Definitely.
really can't help but imagine it. Just like to get called up by the Desolate Council or what have you about something. They'll try and tell her she can't do something, and it'll have like a little Star Wars reference with her being like, I am the Senate.
Oh my god, if that happens, man. But yeah, the thing is, the speculation right now is that the Desolate Council is responsible for Teldrassil, and that so that they can call the Horde into war, because the Desolate Council wants to. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think they want to properly die. You know, like they want the Forsaken to end, basically.
Right. So basically,
If
a war that they don't want to win, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because you know, because the Horde, we should still be weaker than the Alliance, you know, like we got fully dismantled in Siege of Orgrimmar.
Actually,
you know, and then,
if you think about it though, considering the allied races we're getting, what if the Horde get the races from, and I hate warlords, but you know, all the orcs from the portal. What about them?
I'm not sure.
And
Is the gateway actually still there? Like the portal?
yeah, it is.
It is. Well,
Yeah.
then it's certainly a possibility.
And
you know, but I say possibility. Like I'm not. I don't think they will do it. I think they will cast the side Warlords of Draenor.
I think they will
Realizing
to
that
have
it's weird.
because people want Magha, and in our
Mm.
timeline, Magha there aren't that many.
That could be, yeah. But I'm really not sure they will do it. But that
But-
could be. It would be to the delight of many orc role players. That's
But
for sure.
yeah, if you think about it
It's
though,
like I'm on two sides for that one because, like, again, like, yeah, the Magpie. Like, I would like to see them, but at the same
There's
time,
gonna be
I
so
feel like
many
a
of
lot of
The
people.
Draenor.
I feel like a lot of people kind of view Warlords as being like that awkward rebound relationship you had after a bad breakup.
it had some
Like,
good
you know what I mean?
moments.
Don't want to remember it ever again.
It had some good moments. As much as I hate on it, I really love the Frostfire Ridge questline, for example.
Oh yeah, me too.
That
Man.
was great.
Yeah. Good, man. Christ, that makes you shed a tear. Feel Lord of Draenor right there.
Who's cutting
But-
onions?
As I say, I think if that is still there, if they don't just like forget their lore as they've done it, orcs are pretty much like the strength of, I don't know, 2 or 3 humans. I mean, they're pretty big and bulky.
I mean, if we talk now that we talk about allied races, I think the major tipping point would actually be the Nightborn,
Oh, there is a lot of Nightborn actually as well.
because I mean they're not they're just like blood elves, you know,
And
pretty much, if not even better.
yeah,
Like,
they're more
more
powerful
adept
with it.
magic.
Yeah, they're pretty much magic
it-
races.
Yeah.
Yes, you know, about the Nightborn, I want to see, actually, like, how well they're received, like, by the Blood Elves, because it would actually be quite interesting to see, perhaps, like, a few Nightborn
Mhm.
inside of specific Blood Elf guilds.
I think
I mean,
they
Because,
they
like,
should
you know,
be
their
received
magic
well.
Mastery and that.
Yeah, me too.
It's
Like
you know, their magical mastery. I mean, look at the stuff they did. They play around with chronomancy and do something as frivolous as making their wine.
we are already planning to allow an auxiliary rank, I think that's called, like for
Auxiliary,
Nightborn
yeah.
in the guild, because we actually think that they will be received well.
I think so
What's this?
too, but
Yeah,
depends.
Even if you look what Grand Magistrix Alysanne said about the Blood Elves, you know, when she talked about all the elven races that stood against her, basically, she was pretty much talking the High Elves and the Night Elves, but she was like seeking understanding from the Blood Elves, pretty much, and even though they were
she was
opposed, you know.
disappointed to see the Blood Elves against them.
Exactly.
Because,
And,
like, you know, there's such close history.
and then you see Lady Liadrin and Silgrin, the Nightborn rebellion leader, pretty much.
Yeah.
Sweet talking and stuff. I don't know, man. And I think they will be received well. There are just too many similarities, you know. Like not only because they are related basically from the race, but also because they had the same suffering, you know, from the Legion, and they were cut off. They relied on the Nightwell or the Sunwell, you know, and yeah, I think there are too many similarities to not receive them well. Actually.
I'll definitely be making one personally.
Yeah. Gotta agree with Dawn Daddy there.
But,
The Eclipse and Blade say hi, by the way.
hi, Eclipsian Blade. Hello.
I've
what-
been kind of told to tell you that.
Welcome to
Hey.
the 3 nerds talking to one another.
Oh,
We kind of spoke about the conclave. Are there any other actual like community events that happen often in the Blood Elf like community?
alright. So I really don't like to toot my own horn, but there's something that I am organizing actually. That's the Blood Knight Convocation, and because a friend of mine who's also playing Blood Knights with passion basically, and we were like, there's not enough Blood Knight roleplay going on, you know. Like the Blood Knights are the for us at least the best military faction in the Blood Elf community, pretty much. So we were like, why not set up something taking inspiration from the Silverhand calls? Why not do a Blood Knight meeting? You know, like once, like four times in a year, pretty much,
Yeah.
like a quarterly meeting. And we
Yeah,
had the
it's written
first.
right to that, don't mind.
So we started planning and organizing a bit, and in November I think we had the first convocation going on, and it was actually pretty well received. We had like Man, that was the most delightful raid ever. Like we put up a raid group and there were like 50 or 60, now okay, 60 people not, but 40 people, and then we had some more people standing around, you know, like for the meeting pretty much. And then we just talked. It was basically like the conclave just for Blood Knights to organize stuff for the future, you know, to have Night Masters train Blood Knight adepts and to organize campaigns for the future and stuff like that. And that's something that will be ongoing for sure. Like the next one will be in January or February, something like that. I will make it known on the forums when that happens. But yeah, it's a really cool thing. Like,
If you send me a link to it as well, I'll put it up on the podcast as well.
all right, I sure when the time comes,
Yeah.
man. I like yeah.
There
But
used
yeah,
to be something that Over Silver used to run as well, which was this like criminal underbelly sort of thing where they'd gather all these different like guilds, leaders, all that stuff. Because I know I was a part of it as well on my Goblin Mercenary, which was it was actually pretty fun as well. It was like a have you I mean I don't doubt anyone here has not watched Pirates of the Caribbean. There's like
what is that?
what is Pirates of the Caribbean?
No, of course.
There's the whole like gathering of the pirate sort of like leaders. So what they wanted to do was that sort of gathering where you have all these like trinkets and stuff that would mark you as who you are, whatever. When you come to sit at the table, you discuss all these like smuggling sort of things, these trade deals, these territories that you don't, and all that stuff. That was pretty fun sort of thing, ran by Fear Lane. Also,
yeah. No, the thing is, I don't know about the event myself, but like just from, I like the idea, you know, because I like criminal roleplay, which isn't too obvious, you know, like not the edgy assassin guy that you roleplayed as a 12 years old or something, but the mafia kind of roleplay.
Sit around with murder row and most gaudy outfits going.
I freaking love Mafia roleplay. I haven't been roleplaying on Horde at all. I think the majority already know that by now. But if I were to ever come back, I'd probably I'd want to like make a goblin have this whole Mafia background to him. You know,
it would be awesome, man. Like, I really like the goblins, you know, like I would never play one myself, but I like the idea of them, you know, the greedy little bastards, man, that just do whatever is needed to be done to get them some profit and stuff, you know.
I'll have you know that only one of my goblins aren't greedy, but yeah.
But the thing is, first of all, I don't see many of them.
There isn't.
Yeah, there's just not many goblin roleplayers. I don't know for what reason, because they are cool.
Well, it's the whole what's the word? People always roleplay the same thing when it comes to goblins, and they don't really come. Let's actually call it in general with characters actually, because it would make sense for Blood Elves as well and whatever. When you come into a setting and you just roleplay out the stereotype with, for example, again with the goblins with explosions, money, and all this, you're going to get bored.
Because that's like a lot of the Blood of Noble.
Yeah, that's all you're coming in with. You're like, this is my character. You have no actual development, no characteristics. You're just like, you know, you're just this. This is all you are. You could literally describe the character as bombs, money, power. That's it.
Yeah, it's pretty bland, I guess. Like, yeah.
Same can be applied to noble roleplay with Blood Elves, for example, with just wanting that power, the slaves or whatever, servants, and all that.
At least in like political roleplay, I would call it, like the Blood Elf noble stereotype, you can still have the plots and stuff, you know, like if you pull it off well, then it can be really long-term stuff and progression. But I get the point, you know, like if you don't have too much progression ability, then of course it's just going stale, and then
it's like putting a blank page in front of you and having nothing written on it. It's pretty much that. Like you come in to write a story, but you've got nothing. and
Yeah.
you should when you're making a character, unless you're making what I do occasionally is these sort of characters that I sometimes go on to take a break from my main, just to mess around now and again.
Mm.
But
The thing is, I think it's also like how these stereotype goblins basically are received. Like I have one example when I was in Silver Moon, for example, and there was some goblin coming in. Like we were just role playing, and then he came in, and he was really that type of goblin role player who just comes to you, wants to sell you some shit, and you just say no, but he keeps bugging you, man. Like he keeps being persistent about it, but and then disregards everything. Like he doesn't give a flying fuck for everything. He just wants to sell his product.
that's
and stuff.
fine though, if you roleplay
Yeah,
the character out properly.
The thing is, that's definitely fine, but dude, if he does that for like 2 hours or something,
Yeah.
and he just won't, like, he just doesn't get that he won't get anywhere,
Yeah,
then
it comes to the same old.
See, what I mean though is they, let's just say the goblin that you interacted with just kept saying the same thing over and over again. If you add some flavour to your text or something like that to try reel in the buy or whatever, like I don't know, this merchandise can make you fly or whatever.
exactly. But the thing is, oftentimes I see it that they just try to be too goofy, like
Yeah.
too funny.
Yeah.
Like which I like. I really love that concept because it oftentimes even cracks me up. Like I just read what they say and I'm just smirking, man. Like it's funny, but if they wait, what did I want to say actually?
Goofy. Something about goofy.
Yeah,
You've not been drinking as well, have you?
there is that point where it's not funny, but where it's just annoying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Just the same
and-
old, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a thin line basically between being funny and being annoying, and many times it's just being annoying as fuck, and then it's just not fun, man.
Yeah. No,
Oftentimes.
I
not
get that.
Like I see many role players not many role players, but some goblin role players that I meet, for example, in Orgrimmar, where there was just recently actually we wanted to buy something, and there was goblins involved with that actually. And they pulled it off really well, man. That was really amazing, Goblin.
Was
roleplay.
it Killgun?
Dude, I don't know because I just watched it from afar. But like,
I know Killgun's
was
been
awesome.
doing a lot of trading roleplay actually, which she's a great role player actually. See, persistency is fine in roleplay, but persistency isn't fine if you're just repeating the same sentence. No matter how much you change the words over and over again, you have to put creativity behind your persistency, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you gotta mix it
Yeah.
up once in a while.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just gets stale and irritating. As you said.
and you have to be convincing about it. Like if you are not convincing about it, then it's just weird.
Yeah, you have to. To be fair, you can just apply this to when it comes to roleplaying and goblin and business stuff. You always get, well, not always, but sometimes you get this thing at your job interview where the interviewer passes you a pen and asks you to sell the pen. Like, why is this pen good, better than the other pens? All that stuff.
Yeah, but I saw a movie that wasn't some kind of.
So that's when
movie.
you break out the old.
It's in the
spice.
movie as well, but the interviewers do that as well. Because I had an interview before with a shop called CEX. You probably know it. Squid.
Really.
It's just stuck in my head. They handed me a phone and I was like, try and sell me it. Obviously I did horrible because I didn't expect it, but you have to make it sound really fancy and snazzy and say, oh, this phone is better than all the rest. It can call people, you can send messages, all that stuff.
Yeah. Basically, you need to tell people they need it. Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I already have a phone. Why do I need a new phone? And they just tell me, okay, man, can your phone do this? No. Well, then you need to get this product because it's just able to do this and that, and I don't know, man.
Exactly.
Want
To be honest, like if someone tried to offer me a phone that would stay alive for more than 2 hours, unlike my old one, I'd just take it. It's like, hey, look, it's dead before I've reached my destination.
How many merchant role players do you actually have with the Blood of community?
Merchant role players.
Yeah.
Actually, we have a guild about it. there's the Thalassian Trade Company, I think. It
Oh.
formed not
Yeah,
too
we've had a
long
few
ago.
artisans around as well over the years.
Didn't that one die though? I'm not sure if I think it was Dark that ran that guild, right?
Yeah, but I think they are still doing stuff.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that, like, oh my god, like 2 months ago or something, they organized some auction, for example, stuff like that in an event in the Falcon Wing Square and stuff. Such things are still going on, and there are still individuals that have their little stores and everything. I think sometimes in Silver Moon I even see like a baker walking around, you know, like they have a little store where
Oh,
you
yeah,
can buy
Tosca.
bread and stuff.
I love
But
that actually. Like when
like,
people situate themselves in cities as like merchants and
hmm.
provide you another area to sort of like go and interact with, you know, like
So there's definitely such roleplay going around. Not too much though, to be honest. But I don't know, man. What I would like to see is like traveling merchants, you know, like some kind of caravan that does that travels from city to city and does events. You know, like let's say they say, okay, guys, we are doing our caravan is in Crossroads, for example. You can go there and buy stuff, you know, and then they do that for a few days, just roleplay, and then they move on. And I don't know, man, like a month later they are in Orgrimmar or in Silver Moon, whatever, you know. That would actually help that kind of roleplay, I think.
yeah.
And give people that
So, like,
play that
around the
role.
Blood Elf community, like, so you'll see a few people who are, say, seamstresses, blacksmiths, alchemists. But the sad
Definitely.
thing is, very little ever really seems to come of that.
Yeah.
I
So
can
it's very
understand.
cool. Like, you know, it's great opportunities because, like, say, you know, you need a new weapon or you need your armor fixed. Instead of just having some NPC do it off screen, you can go off and find one of these other
Definitely.
RPers who know enough about this sort of thing that you RP it out. And, you know, you get a bit more, you know, you get a bit more oomph out of it, you know?
I can
I have this
understand.
With them, like, you get to RP with them. If they do a good job in character, then you can mention it to other people around you. They'll get more RP. You've had a satisfying RP with them at the same time.
Yeah, I can understand why people get bored of it though. It's specifically because of that reason. People, guilds even, they tend to just go with the NPC route, but you do sometimes have these players who are willing to provide for you, because I've tried that before and it didn't really work out, because eventually the guild was just doing it their own method, which is NPC. You've got to be persistent with the characters as well as the character being persistent with you. When it comes
the thing
to
is-
That sort of thing. Like, one of the officers actually in the Sun Reavers, KLM, his characters, and his character does enchanting.
Yeah.
And it's a great little thing.
So
He's
the-
done a few little enchanting things for people in the guild, and he's RP'd it out, and it's been great.
yeah,
So if you get a new
I-
weapon, he'll just do the whole test, check it over for you in character, be like, right, okay, it's good to go.
What I often
And
see
it's just
is
little things like that, more validation.
That's true. Like what I see often, people resort to have it as like a secondary thing going on. You know, for example, your wifey, man. Her character is a blacksmith, for example, in our
Yeah.
group, and like, but it's like a secondary thing, you know. Like she's a soldier, pretty much first place, but she's a blacksmith, which is awesome. But like, people are just I don't know why, man. Like I myself am included actually. People just don't use that possibility, you know. It's there, but people don't use it.
you should. And
Myself included.
I actually think there was a whole initiative started. I don't know if it's still going. The whole Traders Coalition or something like that, where people would come in, write their characters like profile and whatever they do and where they can be found.
Yeah, that's all, yeah.
I don't know if that's still active or not. I haven't seen it in a while, so I'm gonna say it isn't.
Yeah.
It was good seeing all these characters and where they could be found and if they could be approached or whatever. It'd be nice to see more of that, really.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I just think the problem is that people don't want to spend that much time waiting for example, if they give their weapon to a blacksmith and they need that weapon refined or whatever, or maybe reforged into something else, I don't know. They just don't want to wait a few days or whatever. you
Yeah.
know? Or or even worse, like they want to have that done, but then it's done in like one emote or something, and then suddenly your stuff is repaired and stuff, you know? Like, so I don't know, man. It would be awesome to have that kind of roleplay to be present more often, but I don't know how to make people be more encouraged about it, to be fair. But maybe someone else will find a way, make it more present. That would be
I'd do it
awesome.
myself, but I'm a bit lazy. Well, I'm lazy in the sense that I've sort of given up being consistent with things, rather preferably doing things in the moment, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So, you know, campaigns or random events, but not something that requires you to keep a schedule or whatever, because it's just not like for me. But
Yeah.
I reckon if anyone is up to it, they should really do it. I mean, it's the same thing
Yeah,
with
definitely.
it requires the same level it does to run a guild, basically. You have to keep on top of it. It's not going to be popular for the first weeks or
Yeah.
even months, but eventually, if you're persistent and you continue through it, you know, all the way, you'll eventually have all these connections, all this role play.
Definitely. Yeah, you have to put your heart blood in it, basically. You need to really pull it through. Like,
Yeah,
it will start slow, but it will pick up, and then you will have your consistent roleplay about it. For sure. But it just takes time to develop that kind of connection. That's,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
yeah.
what's Silvermoon like then? I haven't been there in a while. I know there's, to be honest, most of the times when I go to Silvermoon, I see more orcs or trolls than anything else, actually.
Yeah, I think that comes
Yeah,
down
that's
to the
always
thing.
bugged me a bit.
What?
Yeah, go on, man.
Alright, so I think that's connected to the whole thing about guilds actually venturing out into the world. For example, the Sun Reavers, or for example, the Eclipsing Blade, but many other guilds too. And every time that happens, Silvermoon is occupied by everything else, you know, like orcs, undeads, sometimes goblins and stuff, and the occasional blood elf citizen and stuff. I don't know, man. That's why Silvermoon oftentimes appears empty, because all the guilds are out doing something, and that's also connected with. I think it's connected with Legion actually being a good expansion, you know, because there's actually content you can do and stuff that's interesting to do in the world. And if you think back to Warlords of Draenor at the especially at the end where nothing was to be done, then most people were in Silvermoon at home basically, and that's where you almost only saw blood elves, maybe the occasional orc or troll or whatever. But in my opinion, what does an orc or troll do in Silvermoon? That's always what I'm thinking when I see
I
orcs.
can picture them more. I mean, let's face it, we do see orcs as savages, but there's also the orcs that are kind of like the magisters in a sense. They want, you know, to learn, and I can kind of see them
Yeah,
going
they're shaman and
towards
such.
Like
the
thing is,
magisters or something to, you know, gain some of their knowledge as well.
I actually don't mind them being in Silvermoon and stuff. I actually find it's a contributing factor to roleplay because it gives them more versatile thing about it, like atmosphere. But then again, other times, like there are other times where I walk down the street and then there are suddenly 10 orcs on their wagon, on their not on their wagon, on their wolf mounts, basically riding in a formation, and then they spit on my character and ride on. You know, that's the times where I'm
I
like,
liked
Yeah.
it back in
That's the
I
same
liked
thing.
it more back in Mists when you had orcs around, because you know the Corcoran very much had their whole oppressive presence around the whole of the horde,
Yeah.
and you know you kind of expected it.
That's the
But
same
now
thing.
it doesn't feel so valid anymore, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, it's the same thing though with my goblin, for example, Dempsey, who is one of those characters that wants to learn more, you know, more knowledge, basically in general. I
I-
I do get funny looks by blood elves, and they
yeah.
they do look down upon me, all that stuff.
Yeah. That's
Pretty much every
exactly the
single one.
that's the Blood Elf roleplayer I am.
Yeah,
like my character is he's hands down a racist, man. Like he just sees the horde basically as a means to an end, pretty much. That's the mentality of him. Like, he will respect them. He even has an orc friend, so he's not fully racist, but he's like,
It's only half
I'm
racist.
racist. I'm not racist. I have an orc friend.
just justifying myself, okay? I have an orc friend. I can call them names.
I have an old friend, I can call them green.
Exactly. No, but he really is like, Blood Elves are the superior race, basically. He will be able to develop respect for the other horde people and stuff, you know. But like, he still looks. The initial thought is to look down upon them, but also for a good reason, man. The orcs attacked Calfalas, you know. That's the same reason why he hates humans, for example, because of the whole Garifos stuff after the downfall of Calfalas and stuff. That's, man. I'm so looking forward to kill humans in the next expansion.
I'm looking forward to the
gonna be
next
amazing.
expansion. There's a lot of story potential, unlike this expansion.
But man, I'm expecting a shit ton of RP PvP campaigns then. And
I might do
hope
one
they-
myself. I might hold
that's awesome.
I might hold one. I'm trying to figure out how to make some like sort of ship warfare work, which
Mhm.
should be fun, but it's
That would
going to
be
be
nice,
very
man.
difficult.
Maybe with the gunships in Northrend or something. I don't know, man.
Maybe.
But it will be amazing. But the thing is, this time there's a real reason behind it. You know, that was kind of an issue, in my opinion, with previous RP PvP. Like, of course, there will be a made-up reason, pretty much, that explains it all. Why are they fighting here and there? You know.
He
but-
kicked me. It's just something
but this,
simple.
You
Yeah,
lied
but-
about my family.
But this time it's additionally backed up by the lore itself, you know, and that will make it feel even more immersive, and that's what I'm really looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
Will be fun, man. Will be fun.
Yeah, man.
Let me look.
Good stuff.
What's your recent thoughts on the whole Surama, you know, the whole Blood Elf storyline within the Legion? Because you got a bit as well. But the goblins
Well-
still got nothing. What is this?
Well, we at least got more than the goblins. That's
Yep.
true. I mean, it boils down to Liadrin, actually. Like, the only Blood Elf stuff that went on was the Surama stuff, where we helped with the siege. Actually, not even helped with the siege. I think the Blood Elves were actually the main presence of the Horde on
They
the
run
Broken
that
Isles,
town.
actually. Yeah, man.
They
We
were
are
the-
running that town.
Yeah, I like that whole actually the presentation with what was it, Valera and Tyran and Lady Liadrin,
Yeah.
right? That you had the three different forces.
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed that bit, actually. It just made sense, you know. Like, I would have been disappointed if the Blood Elves wouldn't somehow be connected to that race. That would be stupid, in my opinion, because as we said earlier, like,
Too much common ground.
There are
Yeah,
a few people pissed off at that.
About
Oh,
what?
yeah, the Night Elves are so angry about it.
yeah,
wait,
but
angry about what?
well, that the Nightborn have come to the Horde rather than the Alliance.
Oh yeah. But come on, man.
makes more
Tyrande and
sense.
Valiva, they treated them like shit, man.
Yeah. They
Blood
were
Elves
they were only there for the sake of Suramon, not for them.
Exactly. If you actually compare the world, I think if you compare the world quests, I don't play Alliance, so I can't tell. But for example, if you play Horde and did some world quests in Surama, Liadrin told you to post bulletins or whatever it's called
Yeah.
around the city to announce the Horde's arrival, basically presenting them as the saviors of the Nightborn and stuff. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
there's an equivalent on the Alliance side, but if there's not, then already this alone explains the whole thing, you know, like the Nightborn people would see the Horde more as a savior.
I think there is the same.
Really? Well, then the second explanation is just a common ground, man. The
Yeah.
Nightborn are not stupid, so they will know once they have learned about the Blood Elf history. Basically, they will see, oh man, we actually went through the same struggle. Maybe we can find a way into the future together, and that's the whole reasoning, I guess. But we will find out more.
just responding to the chat here. I can see the whole meme behind Tyrande. I think we spoke about that. Me, Thalandros, and Arcrona.
Man,
I
wish I
don't
could
mind
spoiler,
it.
man.
I don't mind it personally because I again see it as two loved ones basically.
Man, Malfurion and Tyrande are just dicks,
They are.
to be honest. If you... I can't spoiler, but after...
I've done it. I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And man, when I read that, I was like,
I was like,
come on.
honestly,
Are
I
you
was just like,
serious, man?
I won't spoil it for anyone here, but
Yeah.
honestly,
I won't,
to put
yeah.
it simple, my response to them was "fuck you."
Yeah. I was like, come on, man. How can you be so heartless?
Yeah.
That's but yeah. Let's get away from that before we spoiler accidentally. That wouldn't be good. Then we get all the hate.
I haven't actually seen that myself, the whole Liadrin lying to see Silgrin. Have you two seen that?
Really?
Hmm?
I think she... Wait, I have only seen the thing in the Vindica. She's talking to Silgrin about the Horde and
Yeah.
stuff. But I can't remember a particular lie. Maybe he could specify what he means. The guy in chat, Victor. That would be
Yeah,
nice.
where could you like copy and paste a bit of text from it, or meanwhile we'll move on. What was your character's initial reactions to the whole, Soroma and all that stuff?
Ooh, well, the initial reaction was we need to stop the legions doing that, because
Oh yeah.
if they can utilize the Nightborn and whatever they had, the Nightwell and everything, like if they can see their plans through, then we are screwed, basically. Like it was, but it was just a general mindset overall regarding the Broken Isles. Like we need to just fight back the Legion, kill first, ask later, pretty much. That was at least my character's mindset.
What about
Later on,
yours?
though. Oh, yeah.
Go for it if you've got more.
Oh, alright. So, but later on, it developed into like just this realization. Like, he didn't know them before, Like,
Yeah.
he knew that okay, they're the Highborn. Our people stem from the Highborn and stuff, but there wasn't much more thought to it. But then later on, he actually saw what's going on. Like, we had I think we were 4 months or something in there doing campaigns and stuff. And over the course of that, he found out, my character, that they were actually just suffering, man. They were just suppressed by a few leaders, basically, doing a bargain with the Legion, and they just needed to be released, pretty much. Like,
You
they
see-
need to be freed.
What I don't get, and actually this is one part that I like with Velen, and it sort of ties in with Elizand. They foresee all these possible outcomes, but they never foresee the outcome that always comes to be, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
So, I mean, we call them all powerful and stuff, but are they all powerful if they miss that outcome that comes to fruition? If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Because like in prophecies, like it's always just one interpretation that you see. So it's just like, well, yeah, as you say, it's like, are you really all powerful when really you've just kind of got one vague image and you're just taking a random shot in the dark? That's what it actually means.
Yeah.
Sorry, he just wrote in the chat at the moment.
The Vindica dialogue. I wouldn't say treason though to that because if you remember back, like it depends on how you define the horde in that situation, in my opinion. Because there was 2 hordes pretty much back then. There was the Garrosh horde, and there was then the Vol'jin horde pretty much. So
Garrosh Horde was pretty much Black Fuse goblins and orcs.
yeah.
Yep.
So, and in that sense, I agree. Like Lorfimer was near. He was actually right out treason, man. Against him. He was attacking Orgrimmar, so he was treasonous in that sense. But at the same time, he was with the true horde pretty much. with the Volt with Vol'jin and everything. So yeah,
Now
I
it
think she.
goes with every revolution.
So I think Liadrin is referring to the horde that hasn't been led by Garrosh. I would say. Maybe they just blended out.
That is most likely what she meant. I mean, who'd
But-
want to talk about Garrosh's horde anyway?
Ah man.
I'm not. No, not doing it again. Spoken about Garrosh too much. No more.
The thing is, I don't. What I don't understand personally is why the Blood Elves stay with the horde. You know.
I can understand it. They're sort of
Yeah,
like
you
they
remember
are
the
sort of
back
like
in the
misfits
landfall.
as well.
They are
Let's go back
misfits.
in the landfall from what the hell was supposed to be going on. Apparently, Lorthamar was kind of working behind the scenes to try and get the Blood Elves back to the Alliance.
Exactly.
And then Jaina just comes along and has her little fit and ruins everything.
Fuck Jaina.
Yeah, man.
It's like, thanks, Mom.
I mean, I get why she's angry, but fuck Jaina.
She just needs to get her stuff together.
The thing is, now it's just too late anyway. Now they will never go horde again, Alliance.
I hope they don't.
They wouldn't
'cause
have done it anyway because like game mechanics and
Yeah.
stuff. But like, there's no reason for it anymore because you can't trust them, and you literally can't trust the Alliance. That's actually a change that I find really cool because in the beginning of World of Warcraft, it was always like the Horde was portrayed as the evil, you know, or like
Well,
the savages and stuff. We still are kind of.
neither
as Horde,
side
but-
is actually evil, though. I mean, each side are doing what they do to survive.
Exactly, but like now with like all the developments, especially the whole Jaina ordeal, man. Like everything Jaina did should have ruined the reputation of the Alliance towards the Horde even more, man. Like any Blood Elf would be like, man, the Kirin Tor, fuck these guys, because they have betrayed us twice, man.
Yeah.
Literally twice. They imprisoned the Blood Elves after the downfall, basically, of Kel'Thalas, betraying them, man, out of
then
nowhere.
Garth was using them as like shock troops all the bloody time.
And then the whole Jaina stuff. So, yeah. Don't
Yeah, it's
trust
like
the
when you get in
Kirin
trouble
guys.
for just trying, like reaching out and taking anybody help you could just to stay alive. And you get court-martialed and imprisoned for it, for execution. And it's just like, where the hell is the fairness in that?
Yeah, again, if they were going to join an alliance, either way, I can still see why they stuck with the Horde or are with the Horde. They're kind of like misfits as well, outcasts in a sense. The Blood Elves themselves, which is what the Horde is, really. A band of like outcasts, misfits.
I mean, the thing is, the Horde, I think at least that the Horde relies on the Blood Elves pretty much now, and the Forsaken mostly, because the Orcs have been weakened a lot with the Siege of Orgrimmar, and I think they're still recovering. They're still strong. They are Orcs, man. Orcs are always strong, but like they don't have the numbers. Goblins, I don't know about their numbers.
Goblins
but
have a
Trolls
shit ton of numbers.
and Tauren and Trolls
Goblins
are.
always play more a case of support, really.
Yeah,
I
but,
hate-
like the Blood Elves have like they're the most advanced society in the Horde, in my opinion, because they can just create a fucking mana bomb if they want to and throw it on people.
Well,
Not as strong as the one on Faramir, but they can still do it. So
what do you
and
mean
they're just-
advanced though? Because goblins are pretty advanced as well.
all right, that's true. But man, I don't know. Man. I just see
blood.
blood. They are just they can do everything, man. You know, like magic can literally do everything. They literally have an atom bomb of mana. Okay, so what can compete with that? Honestly,
Goblins nuclear
Like-
blast.
and they have arcane golems. Okay, have you seen this? Have you seen the Reavers in front of Surama, man?
Have you seen
if-
Black Fuse's golem?
Yeah, but he's not there anymore. But even then, if you see like the whole it shifted away from the orcs being the core of the horde, you know.
I hate that. I fucking
more-
hate that. I don't know why, but
Yeah,
it feels like the orcs are the glue to the horde. If you know what I
of
mean.
course. I mean, they founded the horde and stuff. The whole concept of the horde is from the orcs or
Yeah.
from Thrall.
You can't
But
imagine how pissed off I was when it wasn't Sourfang that became the war chief.
man, holy shit! I'm so
Yeah, I
salty
really
about that.
expected him to be. Even
Why
though,
is he?
we're getting on a bit, but come on, look at him.
He's literally the most reasonable character
He
to
is.
be war chief. Like everyone respects him. Even Sylvanas respects him. Everyone respects him, man. Everyone in the community respects him. Even the guys, even
He-
hardcore Alliance fans, love Saurfang.
He's
because
basically a
just-
war hero.
Yeah, he's badass as fuck, man. He should even when Garrosh was made war chief, made war chief. Thrall should have given that burden to Saurfang.
Yep.
That would have been the most reasonable choice. But I don't know, man.
Apparently,
I just
Sourfang is
don't
just
know
an
anyone.
axe.
Yeah,
They've
He's
just like
just-
kind of opened up Starfang because of his age. I mean,
So
you don't
what the-
really want anybody war chief who's going to die after like a few years of old age, not you.
I overall want
For
him
his
to have
age, have
more-
you seen him in the cinematic? For his age, he's still
Oh,
fucking.
God,
He,
yeah.
he took several arrows, got up, picked up a flag, and charged right back in.
He's just basic.
He is great. I love Sourfang. Sourfang's one of my favorite World of Warcraft characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine too. I don't like Broxigar though, but I like Saurfang.
I like Broxigar as well, but I for some reason didn't like the way they portrayed it in Legion.
Yeah.
I forgot what we were talking about.
I think that was we were having a small lore discussion.
All right. Sorry, Thalandros never got to tell his character's perspective on Surima. Go for it.
Honestly, I'm not even too sure. It's been a while ago now. I think I'm very much like in the same boat as Vorathel. I was just like looking at it, I was like, oh, well, okay. Then you get and it's just one massive, just involuntary kind of reminder of this massive deja vu, really. Like when you look at all the stuff that happened to the Blood Elves, and then it's pretty much repeating history then, the Nightborn. And it's like, how can a Blood Elf not sympathize with that?
Yeah.
So to that end, I suppose my mage kind of looks at it more like, I don't know, in a way it's kind of like their duty, in a way, to help the Nightborn out. Because like they're another sub-race of elves, they're going through the same shit the Blood Elves went through, more or less. Like they've also got crazy magic. So, like better your friends than your enemies, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. I think Lollos will probably want to learn from they might see it as an opportunity because the Nightborn are probably even more adept in terms of magic than the Blood Elves.
Yeah, I mean, like even Athos has a bloody Nightborn apprentice now.
Wait,
Like, yeah.
are the
Yeah, it's in the Mage Order Hall.
Nightborn immortal actually?
Nope.
I don't know.
They
I think
can't
it's really
be.
long lived because of their Nightwell.
Yeah. That's
They
what
have
I'm
long
thinking.
lifespans, but the whole immortality came from the World Tree, so
Yeah, but they have a different sort of immortality, if that makes sense. It's not exactly the world tree, but it's the whole like mana, whatever called fountain or something like that,
Yeah,
isn't
but
it?
I think it's similar to Blood Elves
Because
actually.
they were still technically counted as Night Elves when the World Tree was blessed. Then maybe they were caught by that as like, on the fringes. Because Celestra is supposed to be like over 10,000 years old.
They are definitely over. Yeah.
Yeah.
She is definitely over
Yeah,
10,000 years
they
old.
live a long time, but it's like Night Elves, man. Tyrande, for example, is also that old, so, and she's not immortal, as far as I know, at least.
I'm still not completely,
Not
even
anymore.
role playing an elf, I'm still not sure how long they can actually live for. Because the old night elves are the ones that have lost immortality and are kind of falling into the whole aging process now.
Yeah, but then you look at Tyrande, who looks like, I don't know, but she's in her prime.
That's true.
It's not good.
Chronomancy would actually help them keep young, basically.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know that much about Nightborn, to be honest.
I don't toy around with like RP-wise magic being used to make your character live longer, but I know Egwin, or however you pronounce it, she was like 1,000 years old, and she's a human.
Yeah.
Obviously used magic to keep herself, living. which would
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
Like, no question about that.
it definitely makes sense with them as well.
But immortal, nah, definitely not. Unless stated otherwise, I don't think they are really immortal. I think they are just having a super long lifespan, and maybe can prolong it with magic. But yeah.
All right. What's your current like hopes and stuff for the Blood Elf going forward?
Rework of Silvermoon. That's my
I think
hopes,
that's been
man.
everyone's request for many years.
I mean, always.
Alright, so lore-wise, they said that in the next expansion, Silvermoon is the last bastion of the Horde in the like a real fortress, basically, compared to Undercity and stuff, in the northeastern kingdoms, right? So I want them to put focus on what are the Blood Elves doing in the next expansion, in the whole war. And I want to see Blood Elves on the front lines. I want to have more character progression for Roma, for Lorfama, and for Halderon, and not only Liadrin, and but I want to see them together with the whole Horde and just be the Horde, man.
You
I want
know,
to have everyone represented, actually.
saying that is something you
same
might
here.
be actually expecting a lot of Forsaken role players in Silvermoon now. In come
That
for
could,
Battle for Azeroth.
that's actually a thought I had too. Like, I was actually asking one of the of the Rod Guard, what is going on? Like, where are you guys going when Undercity is down? You know, like where are the Forsaken role players going to be at? But I think they will not come to Silvermoon because not only because they would probably be kind of out of place there, you know, like undeads in Silvermoon, that would be weird, you know, like it somehow doesn't fit. But they still have other strongholds. I think they will resort to, and apparently only Undercity felt. So they still have Brill apparently, or in Silverpine Forests and the Western Plaguelands maybe. So yeah, I don't see them going all the way back to Silvermoon. Maybe
Yeah.
Ghostlands though. But the thing is though, if that was the case, then Blizzard would have to resemble it in game, and they won't do that because it's an instant area. You know,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
won't change anything there.
Um,
That's why I'm hoping, man. That's why I'm hoping they put it on the normal map, and then we can have a rework of everything. That would be amazing. But
I'd love a rework of Silvermoon and Exodus especially as well, because that at the moment, compared to Silvermoon, it's just a ship still crashed into the ground. Pretty much. It'd be kind of cool to actually see houses around it now, you know.
the thing is, it doesn't even like. I don't know why they don't do it. You know, because it
Yeah.
doesn't take too much effort. I mean, if they want to keep it in Outland, basically, where it is right now, on from the mechanics and stuff, they can
Just
still
put it here
they
and
can
then I'll
they
update
can
them.
they can still at least rebuild the west side of Silvermoon, you know, like the part that lies in ruins right now, for example. They could easily do that. I have seen people doing that with like one person did it in 2 weeks, actually, on private servers and stuff, building with the world objects and everything. You would of course you don't
RP
you still
Haven.
have the same models, but you can do that stuff, you know, and it doesn't take too much time. Man, I would volunteer to do that. I would do it for
Go
free.
for it. Send a message to Blizzard.
Yeah, but they won't do it for some reason. I don't know, man. I
They
would
won't
really
answer
want
me.
them to. If they would at least update them a bit, it would be so awesome, man. Especially because most people that play Horde are Blood Elves, you know? So why not give them something?
One day I'll convert all the Blood Elves into Goblin role players. One day.
One day.
Yeah, I presumably the Horde will. Oh, I mean, there's mages, obviously, right? So there'll probably be a portal from another city towards Silvermoon and vice versa. But you know, what was I going to say? I can imagine that the Forsaken will actually go to Silvermoon? Purely because Sylvanas is... I can't really see Sylvanas sitting in Orgrimmar. I mean, despite being the war chief, I don't really see her being in Orgrimmar, if that makes sense.
I think she won't like it, but I think she will be there because it's just a horde capital, you know, and it's kind of in the center.
To be fair,
Maybe.
We should have
and-
representatives in the. Should probably send the Thanos off to watch over Orgrimmar or something.
Could
Seems
be.
like something she'd do.
We don't really know, but I think that's the most reasonable choice that she goes to Orgrimmar because, as once again, man, if they put her into Silvermoon, they would have to do something about Silvermoon, you know. They can't just put her model into the throne room basically and then just be like, hey, that's how it is. Because it would mix the old world that's outdated with an updated world kind of, and I don't think they want to do that. They will find a solution.
Understand. I still just do not understand why the hell they won't update Silvermoon. I mean, like, they've gone and overhauled the vanilla zones. Now they're implementing the level scaling for Classic. And then, like, say you look at Exodar, for example. They've gone and put a scenario in there now. They've gone and put in little stuff like that now to get to the Vindica, start off the Argus stuff. And it's just, well, you know, what's your excuse then? Because we've got little things as well they put into Silver as well during this.
The thing is, it's just priorities, man. They don't consider it in priority. That's the only reason. That's the same thing. Why didn't they put an option yet for transmogging that you can recolor your armor as you like it, man?
I think they're actually working on that one though, whereas they haven't actually said anything about...
If they do that, I will be the most happy person ever.
I think they said that they are working on providing more customization for players, but when it comes to Silvermoon and Exodar, I haven't actually heard anything about that.
I think they were they asked actually at BlizzCon if they do anything.
No.
I think they talked about it a bit, like if there's anything happening with it, you know, like they said, okay, Silvermoon is like, it's important lore-wise, you know, because it's the last capital city existing for the Horde on that continent, but they won't do anything because, and Silvermoon is safe because there's a portal, you know, cough, cough, the Eastern Plagueland portal, saving them pretty much.
NPCs don't know how it works.
Exactly. So that's pretty stupid, man. You know, they have the perfect opportunity now, but they don't use it, and that's kind of bugging me.
Yeah, like, I'd love to see them update, just even if it's just few little things, like if they didn't actually fix Silvermoon up, like, I don't know, say, fix up the Elf Gates, and actually have it put somewhere in the lore, then I don't know, like the Elf Gate's been rebuilt, and that's part of why the Alliance can't get at us in Battle for Azeroth.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, it took immense amount of power for the Scourge to get through the Elf Gates. So, like, what's stopping them from rebuilding?
The thing is, now, like, Silvermoon itself should not be attackable anyway, because the Sunwell is reignited, and they can just put up the Bandinoral, man, the Gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Easy mode. So there's nothing, man. Even the whole horde of Doomhammer in the second war couldn't do anything to Silvermoon because of that. So the Alliance will neither.
That's me fine now. Like, we'll go down there now in Battle for Azeroth, and it'll just be like a small legion of blood golems and arcane destroyers there in the past.
Yeah.
And there'd be one small gnome corpse in the way.
Poor gnomes. Fucking, there's always gnomes and goblins getting bullied.
The gnomes too.
Right, there is what's the guilds like on Blood Elf side? I know there's a lot of military ones, but what makes
There's
each one of them stand out? The ones you at least know. What's the difference between the guilds, the military ones at least, or any other guilds there are?
I think the thing that makes them different to each other is the storylines they actually pursue. You know, like obviously, like wait, what can if I take the Guild of Mine as an example, we have that was actually a question that was asked, like when we were created. What makes us different? You know, like why we are just a military guild. But
It's a good question because there's a lot of military
It
guilds.
it is, and I think the difference comes from the values and the storylines you do and the effort you put, and just the mindset you have, pretty
Yeah.
much. Because I don't think that it's a bad thing that there are a shit ton of military guilds. You know,
No, it's not bad.
I think it would only be a bad thing if they all do the exact same thing. You know, like copy paste pretty much. But that's not the case for sure. Like if you take the Sun Reavers, for example, Thalandros, the guild where he is in, like they do very different stuff that we do. Like they're more mage oriented, for example. Obviously, because they're the Sun
Man,
Reavers.
are you about to start telling about my guild?
Yeah, I love your guild. I love everyone inside. Yeah, we
I
are
will
really.
slap you, man. Hit you in
Man,
the butt.
we are friend guilds basically, man. Right now, like we love each other, kind of.
No homo.
That's how I see it. But like,
No, man, we're fully entitled to a bang-on bromance.
yeah,
Look, I just see every blood elf as gay at this point. The amount of gay roleplayers I see, so you can't blame me for that.
I can't. I won't.
What are some of the guilds you recommend then, and what do they do individually, if you name them? That is.
All right. So the guilds I would recommend would be the Sanguine Eye, the Division 23. That's the standard answer. They just around for so long, and they provide quality roleplay for sure. They are not these days. They are not venturing out that often anymore, I think, but they are still definitely going strong.
Garth
and
took
they
Division 23 off on a campaign not long ago.
yeah, they still definitely go out, but like not they are not every day out, you know. But they are still like if you want, for example, really good Blood Knight only roleplay, Division 23 is your way to go. If you want really amazing Warlock roleplay or Mage roleplay, you go to the Sanguine Eye. If you want Sunreaver roleplay,
Sun
you go to the Sunreavers. Yeah, like every guild covers a certain thing, you know. Like for criminals, I would recommend the Oath of Silver, for example.
Yeah,
If they want a good
Oh yeah,
criminal.
definitely.
I would recommend that
roleplay.
personally as well. I've had lovely interactions with them.
Yeah,
If
for
you-
those who don't know about the Oath of Silver, like they are again like a mafia criminal guild.
They're
Like, they
also a
do lot of
long-standing
smuggling
guild
sort of
as well.
things, but they also work, like they have their kind of front, if you will, then as being bartenders.
Yep.
They just literally kind of pretend to be bar staff, just to use that as like their fence and their front to kind of hide from the authorities.
Yeah, like, yeah, there's some. That's a good thing about. There's many guilds and there's something for everyone. You know, if you want to play a mage character that goes out into the world and does interesting stuff, Sunreavers. If you, as I said, Blood Knights to Division 23, for example, Criminals to Oath of Silver, Warlocks Sanguine Eye. If you want to bend up, be a Vanguard, Eclipsean Blade Bro. Or if you like campaigns and stuff, because that's what we are all about. We are going always out on campaigns. But yeah, there's stuff for everyone, and there's plenty of guilds. I probably forgot some even, but yeah.
What about you, Thalandros? Got anything to add to that, guild-wise?
Yeah, again, the Sunreavers, definitely. I mean, like, yeah, of course, I'm biased because I'm in there.
How dare
But at
you?
the end of the day, like, like when it comes onto majors and getting the Sunreavers, like, if you're looking for something a little bit different, definitely go Sunreavers, because they definitely like to take on the more unconventional stance of things.
Is your guild
No,
leader
it's not-
paying you
not
to
one to
advertise?
follow. Oh, actually, speaking of the guild leader, if anyone has seen Iona or Yavren lately, please contact the lawkeepers with some information about their bloody location. Preferably
Oh,
some
have they
information
not been
about them
around?
being alive, but dead would be okay.
Have they not been around at all? I thought they were pretty active.
They're really busy, man. They're
Oh.
really
Well, I
busy
mean,
in real life.
yeah, it's life, man.
Iona and Ben, or
Yeah, Iona and Yavren, they've been
yeah.
quite busy in real
Oh,
life,
yeah,
Can't really blame them for that. But again,
But
if
there's-
anyone has any information about their characters and happen to know where they are, please contact the lawkeepers. for a very small reward, just probably a pat on the back from Thalandros.
Yeah, there's the
You need to
like
take a breath
Thalandros.
whilst you're talking.
Thalandros and
Yeah,
Keandriel
Gotta
and
get
stuff.
in with your Vorathel.
Awesome.
Go ahead, what were you going to say?
And also, if you like getting shot in the neck, go find Keandriel.
He shot my character in the knee, man.
Let me see if I can find the
Iron
conclave. There it is.
Yeah, no, it's like the Sunreavers, they definitely do like taking on the more unconventional side of things with magic, and you know, definitely a bit more creativity. Like not long before I joined, they'd actually had an event out in Vorathel, like dealing with the ogres, and they had people actually dressing up in character with illusions to look like ogres. Apparently, it was immensely hilarious to try and see just some gigantic fat ogre trying to jump over a gap and failing.
Wait, were these actual ogre roleplays or just illusions?
Yeah, there was the Sunreaver mages dressed up dressed up as ogres to try and find something.
Right, I'm looking at the list for the conclave as well. I'm assuming some of these probably aren't active anymore or are, but
For the conclave, it's like everyone suddenly appears, you know.
I think
That's just how it is.
the Saint Belor is
They come out
another
of
guild
woodwork.
I've heard of quite often.
Oh yeah.
They
There's-
came from Defias, right?
Man, there's
Yeah.
plenty of guilds we haven't mentioned yet. There's the
The Sunhawks, yeah, the Sunhawks
There's
is
the
another.
Belor, There's the Sunglaves are new, they just got newly founded and stuff. But the guilds I just basically recommended are the guilds that we have had good interaction with so far. You know, like that's why I don't want to recommend where I haven't had so much
Yeah,
experience. You know?
Obviously.
So the guilds that I have recommended are guilds that role play often with us, or that I role play often with, and that where I can really know, okay, they have, from my perspective at least, the quality I would like to see in Blood Elf roleplay. You know, so that's why I recommend them.
I'm just
The
gonna
other guilds,
add the
they are still
Sunhawks
good,
there and Thalassian Trade Company because they're two very niche guilds that people might like actually.
Oh, yeah. Man, I hope that the Thalassian Trade Company gets a surge of activity because I want to, as I said earlier, man, I want to see like merchant roleplay. To have that growing would be amazing.
But Jesus,
The blood. Wait, let me respond real
go
quick
for it,
to the
go
chat.
for it, go for it.
The Blood Knight Guild is the Division 23, and if you want to be recruited by them, go to Garethil. Division 23, Garethil.
Garethil's hell of a lad.
Look at all those 21 viewers that come in at the end.
Yeah. Like the. Actually, I'm really looking forward because in Battle for Azeroth there will be some good cooperation between those guilds that I mentioned. The Sunreavers and Eclipsans is already a given because, as I said, we are like friend guilds pretty much. We will do stuff together because the stuff that we did together already worked out really well. Everyone had fun, but we will also do stuff with Division 23 and even with the Sanguine Eye we already did stuff and will continue doing stuff in the future.
Yeah,
Will be
my
amazing,
personal
yeah.
recommendations are the ones I've interacted with. I don't think I've actually interacted with the Eclipsion Blade, but I know that, I think it was you that was at my campaign for Legion, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
When you had the Legion launch campaign,
Yeah.
we were in Hildspread.
I don't know
Yeah, we
how
had
that went
our-
for. I knew there was a bit of a mess up there, but I obviously had to stay
It
in my
wasn't
area.
that bad. Basically, what we did, I think back then we were like 7 people or something.
Yeah.
We are far more now, but yeah, we were like 7 people, went to Hillspread, and that's where we, for the first time, had actual RP PvP. We were fighting alongside the Rod Guard and Hand of Agony, I think.
Yeah.
And that was really amazing. Really amazing.
I'm glad you enjoyed that side. I only gave them the story, so you can give your applause to Yorick for that.
We later on went to Ashenvale and Ashara and stuff and paired up with the Sunreavers, House Rivendell, which are now disbanded, I think.
Yeah, Randall's quit the game now.
Yeah, they're kind of disbanded, but yeah, there we met all the other Blood Elf guilds and stuff, and that's where we actually started our relationship with the Sunreavers because we had a common enemy, basically,
Can I
which
just
we managed
say-
to kill.
I forgot to change the title again. So this is another What is PvP video.
Nice.
Oh my god, I'm really lazy when it comes to changing titles, but whatever. Um, but yeah, I think also the Ashara one was Azmira and a few others that hosted that side with help. They were on last week
Yeah, I
actually.
was in the Ashara one. That was awesome.
I
We
was
got to
only
blow
at
up a
the
ship.
we I finished the Barons one by us fighting a giant pit lord basically.
Yeah, man. In that one, my old warrior's son died in that.
Wait, what?
The player's character
The
died.
thing I laughed about this campaign that you did
Yeah.
is in Ashenvale when we all paired up, and actually I don't know if you know Mord, but Mord enough basically the
Mm.
guild leader, or I'm just a co-leader basically. We DM'd actually that was my first time DMing actually, but we DM'd the last boss in Ashenvale in the campaign, and we managed to kill almost 40 people, or at least put them to like 0 HP, and everyone was screwed pretty much. That was really fun. But the thing what came from it, that was what was really amazing, because we had that dreadlord. He was called Gorgonon,
Yeah.
uh, and he was a major villain for our guild for a whole year, and then like he came up every now and then, was like our nemesis and stuff. And then we had one last major campaign where we paired up with the Sun Reavers, who knew them as well because they fought him in Ashenvale back then. And they helped us basically. Like we forged an alliance there and just went out to finally put an end to that evil. And in the end, it was working out, and it really bonded us together. And that was
Oh, that was an
that was the
amazing
thing
campaign.
that's what amazes me. Like the thing
That was actually my
started
first
1 year.
campaign I planned.
Yeah, it started a year ago, and then it created so much roleplay for a whole year, and it could have been longer even, but we decided to then conclude that stuff to move on. And yeah, it was just amazing, and that's what I like to see about roleplay.
In that campaign, like in that last joint campaign between the Sun Reavers and the Eclipsion, I've got to say, I think my personal highlights for that were the Fell Lord, the creation of that Urzul creature, and of course, it's not really a collaborated campaign unless there's a little bit of friendly fire, even if people were mind controlled.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had that event where half of that was super awesome, man. We had like
Yeah,
half
half of us
half
nearly died in character because of that.
like we were like 40 people or something,
It
and
was
then
so
we
much
were
fun.
just like one half went to the other side, and the one half to that side, and then one half got corrupted pretty much, or mind controlled for
Yeah.
temporarily, and then we fought against each other, and that was so fun, man. Suddenly brother turning against brother, and then people laughing their asses off when they get to
I
attack
was
their
turned
own.
into a pincushion by my old apprentice.
Keandriel shot me in the knee. Damn it!
Kendall shot me in the back.
I will never forgive her. Yeah, it was really fun.
It's great when, I mean, I'm personally happy that it provided more roleplay in the long run, but that was one of my first campaigns I ever. Well, actually, it was my first campaign I actually ever planned, and it was a pretty big scale one to put on
Oh yeah,
actually.
definitely. I mean, everyone participated pretty much. Like everyone I know participated in that, so it was
Yeah.
really large scale, and it was good. Of course,
And
in
obviously
campaigns there's always.
I couldn't have done it with the other people who helped in the different zones because
Oh, yeah.
obviously I was taking care of the Barons. I don't know if any of you went to the Barons on another character or something, but I personally really like that storyline. I think our guild, well, I was still in the cohort at the time. Our guild, no wait, I joined the cohort, was it? Yeah, no, yeah, I forget. We had this peon that was so keen on fighting. It was like an NPC that was role playing, and for some reason everyone was just sad when he died. 'Cause I think his name was like Dirk or something like that. But it was pretty funny.
Man, I miss the old peon RPs. They were so much fun.
I'll answer this question then. Man, only you can decide when your character dies, when it makes sense, if that makes sense to you.
If I'm allowed to, like in our guild, for example, we are really consequent, basically. Like we encourage people to take a blow to their character. You know, like
Oh.
we don't want people to be invincible and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that just gets boring if it's just like dancing
Like we-
through it.
we put people into situations on purpose where they will be screwed over because we are fighting enemies that should hurt you.
There's a
much.
difference though. Taking a beating and then your character dying off.
Exactly, but we always make clear like the character's death is always in the hands of the player
Yeah.
because they pay for it, man. We can't decide for someone to die, you know. But yeah, they will get wounded and they will get injured and everything else. Major
I'll
consequences
mention this
come down to that.
from my perspective though quickly.
Yeah, sure.
I take blows obviously. I mean, my goblin's missing a chunk of her ear and all that stuff, but I feel like there's always a right time for your character to die, if that makes sense. If it seems like a fitting end, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like, for example, if you
To
see
me, if it just makes sense, I'll probably go with it.
that's what I mean. Basically, if it doesn't make sense, it's not really when I want my character to die. I'll probably take a beating that'll knock them unconscious, if that makes sense, or have them
Yeah.
out for a few days.
Yeah,
But-
so if I
And my-
really don't want my character to die in a situation where they likely would, I'll just leave them like near death and then just roll the dice.
Yeah,
Like, set up like an internal timer or so to see how long it takes for healers to come to them.
it just makes
And
sense.
if no one's come to check on them, it's like, alright, well, it was good while it lasted.
It's pretty much like that. You decide when your character dies, but there
Yeah.
also comes a point where it doesn't make sense to also get out of the situation you're in. So if
Yeah.
if you're going to RP with a military guild, RP with common sense as well, because I mean, if you don't want your character to die, don't put them in stupid situations.
Yeah, you need to make that decision for yourself. I killed my character before too, and then I got to my current main. But like, I think like my personal recommendation is if you want to kill your character, make a storyline for it, man. Make it a good thing, you know.
I
like
loved it.
like
Make
then
it an
where you
end,
can
like,
be
get some
where you
content.
can make something about it where you can be content about your character's death, you know, where you look back and you are like, okay, it was a good run and he had a good ending. The story is now concluded pretty much, you know, because if you just randomly die in XDM's event, then you won't be satisfied with it, and then you suddenly decide to revive him or something. That would be something I wouldn't like to see personally, because I think if you revive your character, then the whole death of the character was pointless.
It's meaningless, basically.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's possible. That's the thing. Like,
It is
that's-
possible to be resurrected. I mean,
Yeah.
it is the setting of World of Warcraft, but
Yeah.
if I kill off a character of mine, they're gonna stay dead. I mean, I don't know how much you two know about Fuse Flare Spark, but
not that much.
she got executed basically,
Okay.
and I have written a story about it, but I don't know how many people have read it. It's up on Argent Archives and my
Mhm.
DeviantArt as well. It seemed like a fitting end to her. I mean, she was a shady character. She done all these activities with like cults and kind of like sold out the Alliance and the Horde, being a neutral character as well, which kind of put her in the position where it either, well, it was pretty much just die really, which is pretty much a fitting end for the character itself. She ended up getting her head chopped off. But
Remember in the Rebellions, there was this one poor goblin. His character was actually a male prostitute. He kept going on soliciting all the elves and an orc. And he did it to the wrong orc, and this orc just threw him in the river and he drowned. I was like, oh, come on. The poor
Jeez,
character
dude.
drowned in the river because he couldn't swim and no one bothered to save him.
I mean, I think when you're going to kill off a character, you do it in style.
Yeah.
Oh, that
And-
was
and
definitely a memorable
By
death.
style, it doesn't have to be a big bang. It just have to be the right moment, basically. Something that will not only
When-
impact you, but impact the people you're role playing with.
I have a recent example. Like, some of my guildies actually asked me to kill his character in an event, you know. because he didn't play this character that much anymore. He changed mains and stuff, but he wanted the story to end. And he got the most gruesome death that I could imagine, man. Like, he literally got obliterated in front of everyone, so everyone had to witness it in an event, how he got just killed off brutally.
God, I felt.
And people will remember that probably for a bit.
I've killed a few characters in my D&D event. One I feel sad for is I can't remember the Blood Elf's name, but I know he was like a spell shield, whatever it's called, you know.
Spellbreaker.
Spellbreaker, that's it.
Mm.
He got obliterated by a fell guard and a
Yeah, that was my old main character's son you killed with that.
oh, was it? Yeah. I killed him. It was heroic at the same time. Like, this is what I mean by a meaningful death. He kind of just leapt in there and he took some down, but he went down with it, and it was really good, really. I mean, obviously,
Yeah, I ended up retiring my old character after that.
it always feels bad when you kill someone's character off, but I guess if they enjoyed it, it's really up to them, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Yeah, but, I love it as well. People kind of work in the, like say the rest of the group then kind of go with, like, the consequences and the fallout from that, like what it does to the other characters in the group.
man, as a
Like, I don't know
DM,
how it went for everyone else down that way, but like my character, who was our character's father, he got the news, he got this like his son's body back, and that was just his breaking point. Like he'd gone through so much shit, but the moment his son's body was brought back, he just hung up his base spellbreaker shield and everything else, and just retired from combat that moment since.
I had the same interaction actually. I had
He just couldn't do it anymore after that.
my orc died in Draenor, getting impaled by an Elec after he basically
Get out.
yep after he basically put his life on the line to save some like frost wolves, you know. And with his body being brought back to his father as well, that was pretty heartbreaking for him, considering the orc his like father was like, I don't know, orcs are old when they're like 50 or 60. Yeah, it was pretty like it's pretty cool to see the roleplay revolving around it if it's all done right. It's pretty emotional and heartbreaking as well, but you know.
yeah, as a DM, I like it though. I like to bring pain and death upon the characters of everyone in my events. I don't know why, but I enjoy it. It's always fun.
You can always poke at the DM about if you want, if you feel like this is a setting that your character would fall in battle, or I don't know, trip over and bump their head for whatever. I'm sure most DMs are nice enough to make a spot for your character or something if it's something you really want, which in this case, yeah. I mean, I know myself as a DM. I always try to provide. It's not. I go in the mindsetting that it's not for me. It's for them, and I don't always like. I have a basic idea in mind, but I don't have it set in stone. So it could go any other way. So there's always room for these like specific little changes that people want. So their character gains, I don't know, a new sword, or their character finally has their resting point, or whatever. I mean, it's always nice to fit stuff for other people's characters as well. It makes them feel validated. It makes them feel. It basically, the story is for them at the end of the day, and it basically involves them more, if anything, and that's what you want as a DM.
Definitely, it brings fulfillment. Just the best. Yeah.
That was a pretty long discussion on character death. Alright, I'm probably going to add those guilds up. There was the conclaves to add as well. Just again, the conclave is like a meetup of important news. For example, the most recent one being with the whole ending of Argus and all that stuff, right?
Yep. Like the war on Argus, everything like that.
It's basically a gathering to discuss the current ongoings on of Azeroth and its fate, or whatever.
Mostly for what's concerning the blood elves.
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Like, how are we handling this? But yeah.
We've also got the RS's event coming up. I already mentioned that last week as well, with Sefik. What's it called? Revenge of Sefik. Yeah, Revenge of the Sefik. Trying to think of other events. I always forget these. I should begin writing these down, but I'm a bit lazy. Obviously we got my event that I'm going to show anyway. Winter's Veil Showdown with it'll be instant PvP, and also there'll be a transmog like competition for it. There's gold to be won if you want gold, whatever. But I don't really have 100Ks of gold I can give you, so the gold might not seem that much for some people, considering it's easier to make gold now.
Easy.
Oh yeah, my personal recommendation for the week for a guild is a guild that I've roleplayed with in the past when I had the Won the Spot Carnival up. I had it up here somewhere.
Shame.
I took it down whilst I was looking at Conclave. Alright, yeah, the Hijau Trading Company, which is run by Tasso's Out. If anyone knows Tasso, the Pandaren. His Goblin Mundo. He had a lot of interaction with Fuse Flarespark, which involved her, I think, if I remember correctly, her getting her ogre to beat him for breaking some of her crates and stuff. She was a jerk, but you know. He's a really good role player, I think, personally, and the guild itself, I mean, if you want an alternative to Gearfist, Hijau Trading Company is pretty good. I'll put a link up towards it on the...
Support trading RP, guys.
Yeah, I'll put a link towards it. Yeah, and the trading roleplay, that's something else that should be touched upon more, actually. I mean, it's called World of Warcraft, but you don't really have to RP the war part of it all the time. There is other aspects to the game that you could take part in. I mean, it doesn't have to be trading specifically. There's also exploration. There's archaeology, medicing. I don't know, playing the piano or whatever. There's more to roleplay than fighting, basically.
Definitely, yeah.
Touching upon what we said earlier again, if you're making a character, it's alright to go in with the basics, that you have an idea, because this is what I do, but try build up on the character. It applies to any race you play. Try build up on the character, otherwise it becomes another boring copy and paste of basically what they're expected to be, like goblins being these money hungering like fiends, and orcs being these savages, elves being snobs.
Like we said before as well, especially when you're trying to get into a new community, always start with something small, like an initiate or an apprentice or an acolyte or something. Because you get so much more out of it, and then, like, you know, you're not expected to know every last detail of the lore if you're playing, say, a Magister or a Blood Knight Master.
Yep. Yeah, just give depth to your character, pretty much. Let them really respond to the happenings of the world around you. Make them develop that way. That's always the best way to go. Make them have losses, and everything. You know, like just how you would react to stuff in real life, basically. Then makes it more interesting. If you're
Look,
just
I'll just say it quickly, actually. When it comes to role-playing a goblin, compared to the other races, they're probably a race that's more versatile. They have so many different routes they can go down. Pardon?
They're much more mercenary in nature, in a way, if you get me.
Yeah. They can be. They're not always these money-hungering people. They can be. The thing about goblins is they have motives. They don't. It's not always money. It can be knowledge. It can be. I don't know, being the best pet battler there is, like no one ever was.
I've never really played a goblin before, so correct me if I'm wrong, but like goblins always struck me as kind of having a much more self-serving sort of attitude.
Sorry, what?
Like, you know, as a race, like, correct me if I'm wrong, like, but with goblins as a race, they've always struck me as having a much more self-serving sort of personality.
I
Just like,
imagine they have
how
a
would this
mixture.
benefit me?
Yeah, and I also imagine them being laid back at times as well. Well, pretty much someone has mentioned it in the chat as well, actually. Speaking of racial stereotypes, what's your guys' views on characters that steer away from the said stereotypes? Like
Go
a
for it.
friendly Forsaken, generous Goblin. I actually roleplay a generous Goblin myself.
Yeah, go for it, man.
I don't think
Like
either
my
one
old
of you have
boy,
actually interacted with Dempsey. Dempsey,
I don't know. No,
you,
I haven't, no.
just to put out there
Seen
as
you around, but I haven't, no.
just to put out there as an example, you said you have an enchanter. Does she like obviously makes money from it, right? Like
Oh
RP
no,
wise.
it's not me, it's one of the Sunweaver's
Yeah, no,
officers.
but does she use it as like a trading sort of RP?
I don't think he does, no.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty much what Dempsey does. I mean, you'd imagine it with a goblin with the capability of enchanting stuff for people. She just does it for free. Either she has the materials for it, or someone provides it. She'll do it, like no questions asked.
I think for such characters, just go for it because it's just realistic. I
Eh,
think. Like
what Blizzard
like
provides is a basic archetype, but if you
yeah,
think
yeah,
about
like,
it, if you look
But
about
everyone's
yeah, if you look about it in the sense that real life basically humans aren't the same as one another. There is a
Exactly.
massive difference.
yeah, that's just be
yeah, no,
versatile.
The
Like
only
it contributes to your roleplay if you think outside the box. Basically, if you not every Blood Knight has to be like the super patriot or
yeah,
racist guy. Like I don't know, but you can be a bit more. You don't have to be edgy. Like you don't have
be
to
quite chill
go
and laid
edgy
back.
characters.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, it's
one-sided
like I
character.
like playing characters that are outside the stereotype.
I do.
Like my paladin's quite chill and relaxed. He's had a few people asking him is he on drugs because he's just like, these things happen, guys. Just roll with it. It'll be fun.
The thing is, most people probably go for the stereotypes because it's like they have reference to them. Like
Yeah.
they can base that on something that's already existent. And if you are like
Yeah, I suppose.
if you're a Blood
Yeah,
Knight who likes to make jokes or is overall like a funny guy instead of that edgy, hardened war veteran, then it seems maybe off, but it's really not. Like as long as you can execute it well, then just go for it.
I mean, you
If that's
could
what you like, then
you could
yeah.
RP a cowardly orc if you want to.
Yeah.
It'd
Be
be
a peon, sod it.
Peon, yeah.
Yeah,
Just be a peon.
I mean, it's whatever really. There's always variety with people. The only thing that you share in common with your race is your culture. That's pretty much it. The rest of it, however your character could have been brought up, or different opinions, perspectives, whatever, is always developed through whatever history they had.
The thing, what I think is like, you only need to consider if it makes sense, right? Like if you're playing an orc warrior of the Warsong clan, then you're probably not going to play it properly if he dislikes killing stuff, because that's just not part of their culture. Like they're just warriors basically.
Yeah.
It would be kind of weird if they shy away from killing their enemies and stuff. Maybe. But,
It'd be it'd work though. I mean, it'd be
could
funny to see actually.
yeah, but maybe it was a bad example. But yeah, as long as it makes sense, or if you can somehow reason in quotes odd behavior, then yeah.
In other
there's
words,
nothing against it, basically.
be creative, don't be crazy.
Genau.
If that makes sense.
Exactly. What the fuck?
Yeah, I'd say like in broad strokes, like if you want to kind of move outside the stereotypes, bloody go for it.
Yeah.
Like, especially the Blood Elves, when they look at them, they pretty much got the whole social caste thing going on. So if you don't want to be a noble, if you want to be something more lowborn, like a commoner, go for it. If, say, you even want to go as far as being, like as some of my friends and I used to call it, the shadow caste. So, you got like the drug addicts, the whores, that sort of thing. go for it within reason. Because, you know, not everyone has come off so bloody well from how the world has been for years. Some of them are going to be homeless, some of them are going to have sort of issues going on, so if it appeals to you, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it really, my answer at least. If you've got any more questions, feel free to ask them, otherwise I'll be shutting it off soon. Meanwhile, if you enjoyed watching, follow, pretty much, and please, for the love of God, actually bump the thread so it's not only me commenting on it. It just
will.
it feels weird just being me there like 90% of the time.
I have the same feeling with my guild spread, because I do like monthly recaps and stuff, and then I watch the posting list and it's almost only my character.
Yeah, it feels like
90%.
there's no one else interested, but then I see, like, at the moment I see 19 people watching here. Where are they on the comments? You can always feel free to ask questions on the actual thread as well if you don't know what to comment. Just, it could be asking something about next week's topic, because I tend to post that a week before. It can be towards me or towards the potential guest that is coming. Whatever, really. Just post something to do with it. It'd be nice to see more people supporting it, in other words.
Definitely, I like the idea anyway. So
I'm happy to do. I'm actually quite happy I started this. I'm pretty happy doing this and continuing to do it. Adding on top of that though, I will probably be changing the dates coming into the new year, not this year. The dates that I actually do this to either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll probably put a poll up so people can pick a better day for it.
Yeah, my 2 cents is to go Tuesday, man, because a lot of people raid on Wednesdays, so
Yeah.
they don't really get the chance to watch.
Yeah, I'll probably toss a poll up either ways. It'll
that
probably
sounds-
be Tuesday, but I'll give people the option either, like, still, you know. I don't see any questions, so I'm going to assume that that's it for now then.
no more questions. Interesting.
Let me toss up the thread just to get people to at least give it that look. I will need to update the thread in the new year as well. I'm going to change the title from podcast because it's more of a talk show than a podcast, as people have pointed out. So it will be classified as a talk show instead from now on. Next week, I am actually thinking of moving away from the race talk for a while. I actually want to talk about guilds because me, Azmira, and Neyrali spoke about it briefly, and I'd like to go deeper into that. So if there's anyone that wants to come by, any guild leader specifically, or people that ran guilds, because it helps to have that perspective to talk about creating guilds, the reason that some guilds failed, the success to some guilds, concepts, all that stuff. I'd very much like to actually talk about that. I still haven't got a guest for that, so there's still room for 2 people to hop on board for that.
I find the rule of thumb when it comes to making guilds, we can survive the first 2 months with a relatively active roster. You're just set up, you're fine.
I don't think I've said anything. I'll throw in the guilds again because we kind of like talked over them. Right, Sun Reavers, which is like a spec ops sort of thing, right?
Well, if you look at the Sunweaver faction itself, they do kind of branch out, but quite versatile, really.
Yeah.
It's like most of us are mages. We've got a few warlocks, but in character they're mages. We've got places for priests, and then hunters and rogues for the ranger group. For those 2 respectively, you'll want to be talking to Delabalora, Zeke, and what do you think now? Kalen for the casters, and if you want a ranger, go find Tahadras or Kianville. But again, like, yeah, we're all over the place, guys. Like, they're definitely reaching outside the box, and it's awesome. It's always a laugh, and trust me, you'll never pick.
Alright.
With me, I find it quite hard to really find myself feeling like I really fit to a guild. But for the Sunreavers, they feel much more like a family than an actual guild in a lot of ways.
Fast Riders are like the Rangers of Silvermoons, as far as I know.
Yeah.
They're like the elite rangers.
Yeah. There's the Oath of Silver, which is like a criminal guild, and I personally recommend them. They're really nice people, OOC, and they've got really great characters as well to interact with.
Never a bad moment with
No,
the Silver,
it's
ever.
always fun. Every interaction I've had with them has been fun. Division 23 I've interacted with as well. They went to a few of my Wonder Spark events, if I remember correctly. They're nice. They are a nice bunch as well. I haven't interacted with them in the city, so I don't know much about their guard roleplay though.
I think they
I
talked
assume
about
since
the-
they've been standing long though, they do a pretty decent job at it.
Well, they're not really guards, but they're
Yeah, when Garthel took
Guarding
over, we wanted to move away from the whole
Oh, right,
guarding
yeah,
aspect
okay.
and move
Yeah,
back properly
because-
more toward Blood Knights.
Yeah.
yeah, which is a good thing. They still like stand guard at the entrance of the Hall of Blood, but that's reasonable, you know. But they don't go to patrol the city and pick up criminals and stuff
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they're not
yeah.
the police. So, but they're good. I love them actually.
They
Really
are
good
good. I like their characters that I've met as well, briefly, even if it was.
Right, they're great lads through and through.
There's the Ecliptian Blade, which Vorathel can explain as well.
Alright, so the Eclipsing Blade is a Thalassian vanguard, basically. So we are pretty often, like most of the time, actually doing stuff at actual content. Broken Isles, for example, in the past, obviously, Surama and stuff. And right now we are in our second chapter of the Argus campaign. So we are always to be found at the forefront, the field of battle, and we always represent the Blood Elven superiority in the battlefield and the values. So it's pretty awesome, man. If you like campaigns, if you like DM campaigns on a large scale with guild interaction between guilds, then that would be the right address for you, to be honest. Pretty cool.
Yeah. There's the two last guilds as well. Sunhawks, basically a flight military guild. They've been long
Yeah,
standing as well.
Dragonhawk Flyers.
Yeah. Brigant is. I mean, I haven't interacted
Yeah,
with him, so I
Briggs.
can't really say much. But he seems like a really capable guild leader and someone who's for a
Yeah,
guild.
but he's not dropping mana bombs on people. He's a stand-up guy.
Yeah, for a guild concept he's got, which would be very difficult to run, he seems to be doing a great job at it. And if you want that sort of roleplay, I'm sure he's obviously doing a good job at it.
Yeah, Dragonhawk Rider is it's a nice concept, definitely.
There's
Really
also
nice.
there's
The
lastly, go ahead.
The Sanguine Eye. Yeah, basically the Sanguine Eye is like basically if people talk about Blood Elf guilds, they always mention them because they just provide quality roleplay for years. So if you like, for example, being a warlock, this guild is your guild as a Blood Elf.
Oops.
Definitely.
If you're trying,
But
yeah,
also-
and if you're
but
trying to
also-
get into playing a warlock, go talk to Thalandros because every month or so they have this little thing called the Coven of the Sun,
Yep.
and it's open to warlocks that are not just from the Sanguine Eye. It's also open to other Blood Elf warlocks as well. So if like you're just new to playing warlocks and you want to learn what it is really about to be a warlock, a demonologist, and what have you, they've got that covered in spades.
Alright, lastly is the Thalassian Trade Company. I don't know if they're active at the moment, but I mean, I fully, I'm for trading roleplay basically, so
Yeah, I think they don't have that many people in it right now, but
Yeah.
they are definitely organizing stuff every now and then. So if you want to be a merchant and you want to support merchant roleplay, which is a good thing always, then that would be a good way to go, definitely, for your character.
I think that's it from the list. I don't want to put every single Blood Elf guild there because I don't want to recommend something I don't know about, and I don't want to
Would be
have
here
it.
all night.
Yeah,
Be on the safe
maybe
side.
another time, because who knows how long I'll be doing this. But I do intend to keep doing it. So again, if you're looking for a sort of trading company for goblins and stuff, Hijau Trading Company, they're pretty great. You can contact Mundo for that, or Tosso. I don't think he knows I'm advertising him, so whatever.
Shilling back to myself.
I'm shilling him because I like his concept and I like his characters.
Oh yeah, I love his Pandar and it's so rough around the edges, it's great. It definitely brings raw feel to it.
Otherwise, I'll put a roundup on the thread so people can go look at it.
Sounds good.
Okay, I need to also look for 2 guests to talk about the guild stuff because I really want to do that. Alright, thank you for coming, both of you.
No problem, man.
And
Was a blast.
as
It
always.
was really fun.
I'll see you next time. Well, maybe not you two, but you know what I mean. I'll see you.
I
Man.
get you, man.
Man, you can always reach out if you struggle to find a guest or something. I will be glad to come.
Yeah.
First, there's always free, so no issue.
Yeah,
But it was
it's
really
nice
fun, man.
time.
So thanks for inviting me. Definitely.
Alright. Thanks for coming.
All right,
No
man.
problem, man.
See ya.
Have a nice evening then. Bye bye.